What's up, DC Nation? Welcome back to another video on DC Future States, and today we're covering the complete story of Future States Gotham. Now, this has everything to do with the Magistrate, how they rose in Batman Superman number 1 and 2, and how they fell in Dark Detective number 1 through 4. Now, we're getting all the titles in this video, from Batman Superman to the next Batman, to Catwoman, to Robin Eternal, to Nightwing, to the Batgirls, to Dark Detective, and a couple more in between, like Arkham Knights, Outsiders. Like, this is actually a 3-hour and 12-minute comic narration. So a huge overarching story that I overall thought was really cool. I really liked the idea of the Magistrate. It was really awesome. Yes, the ending of Dark Detective was a little abrupt. I hope DC continues it, but I'll share more of my thoughts on that at the end of the video. But for now, guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy. We begin in Gotham City, the beginning of the occupation. Batman encounters these rats that have heat vision. They blast, but Batman dodges just in time. He makes it to a chamber. He opens the doors and sees a bunch of kryptonites. Batman knows something's wrong. Superman is in trouble. We shift to Metropolis. Yesterday, a boy named Xander stands in a tunnel. A train is coming. He jumps in front of the train to kill himself. But he is surprised when he isn't dead. The train stopped. Superman has arrived. Xander is shocked to see Superman. Superman tells Xander, "It's never the only way out, Xander." Xander is confused. How did Superman know? But then he remembers. Superman has super hearing. He heard everything. Superman wants to figure out why Xander would try to kill himself. Xander says, "Nobody ever remembers me. Got a forgettable face, I guess. I wanted to pull out the most epic prank ever at my school. So when I found out about the false face serum," now Superman's confused on what the false face serum is. Xander pulls out the serum and shows Superman. The serum lets you be whatever animal you want. A crocodile, a horse, anything. Honestly, guys, if I got that serum, I would want to be a lion. The freaking king of the jungle. That's like the best option. You guys tell me what you want to be down below in the comment section. I actually really want to know. What's your favorite animal? Yeah, if you got this false face serum that could turn you into any animal, your face into any animal, which animal would you choose? Now, continuing, Xander got this serum off the dark web for only 20 bucks. He became his school's mascot, a ram. Xander planned on going to a football game, rush the field as a ram, then turn the serum off and reveal himself. It would be a good prank, but the serum has side effects. Whenever Xander gets nervous, he becomes a ram. He gets horns. So now instead of becoming a somebody, he became a freak. Everyone considers him a freak. Superman takes Xander to Star Labs to get him help. Superman then proceeds to do some research on the false face serum. He gets an answer. His answer is in Gotham. Superman flies to Gotham and is confronted by Batman in a bat plane. Superman flies inside the bat plane. Batman uses his stealth tech to hide the bat plane from everyone. Batman tells Superman, if they find out that Superman is in town, the reaction could be extreme. Superman responds, "Who's this they you're talking about?" Batman states, "Mayor Nakano hired law and order thugs, the Magistrate. You're a reporter, Clark. How come you haven't heard about this yet?" Superman replies saying, "Metropolis has got its own issues. You heard the false face serum?" Batman obviously has. It's been going on around Gotham. It's grown really popular. Superman looks out of the bat plane and sees multiple people with animal faces. The animal-faced citizens of Gotham begin to cause property damage. They do this to get the Magistrate's attention. A huge cyberbot shows up to kill them. But that's when Superman flies in front of the citizens saying, "Not today." Superman smacks the cyberbot back. You hear a pow! Elsewhere in Gotham, we see the Magistrate peacekeepers notice Superman. They go to inform the professor. We go back to Superman helping up the animals-faced citizens. Batman shows up. He wants answers. A girl takes off the false face serum. Batman holds the serum and asks, "Where'd you get this?" Superman asks, "And why would you use it?" The girl says, "My old man vanished. last month. No notes, nothing. The so-called authorities insist he left on his own. He's a professor at Gotham University. No way he would abandon his research. He wouldn't abandon me. The Magistrate took him. I know it. They treat us like vermin, Superman. We're showing them we can fight back. We're trying to take down all the Magistrate drones and cyberbots. So, when I found out about the false face serum, I had to get a hold of it. $20 to get around the Magistrate's facial recognition technology? It's a steal. Side effects and all. Batman says, "You still haven't answered my question. Where did you get it?" The citizens tell Batman and Superman that they got the serum from a dealer at a creepy hospital in old Gotham. The citizens try to attack with a bat. Superman breaks the bat in half. The citizens flee. The citizens are afraid of Superman and Batman. They think that they are working with the magistrates. Now, that's when Superman realizes that it's gotten terrible in Gotham. The citizens afraid, the magistrate in control. It's not going well. And he asks Batman, "Why didn't you contact me before?" Batman responds, "You're here now, aren't you? Come on." Batman and Superman make it to the creepy hospital. Batman's suspicious of the place. That's when two monsters show up, a huge gorilla and a rhino mixed with a crab-looking creature. Yeah, guys, this rhino-looking creature has like a rhino head and then has like crab hands. It's a really interesting design. But still, we have Batman. He says, "I need more time." Superman says, "I've got you covered." Superman fights off against the monsters and takes them down easily. It's light work for Superman. He pulls off the serum of the people. From behind him comes Mr. Toad. He reveals himself as the leader of the False Face Society. We shift to Batman looking closer into the hospital. But then the whole place becomes silent. Batman feels it in his bones. Superman is in trouble. We go back to Mr. Toad, explain to Superman why he created the False Face Society. Mr. Toad wants to bring freedom back to Gotham. No more magistrates. Superman mentions Mr. Toad's daughter. She thinks her father abandoned her. She took the False Face serum herself. She's feeling the side effects. Mr. Toad is shocked by what Superman tells him. He would never let his daughter go through such pain like that. Superman tells Mr. Toad to take off the serum. They can both face the Magistrate together. No more false faces. No more bad side effects. Freedom will come back to Gotham. Mr. Toad takes off the serum off his neck and hands it over to Superman. But that's when Mr. Toad takes out a kryptonite knife and stabs into Superman's stomach. Mr. Toad says, "I don't think so." Superman yells in agony. In an abandoned hospital in old Gotham, Mr. Toad pushes Superman on a stretcher out of a chamber door with a huge creature at his side. Batman comes in front of Mr. Toad. Batman says, "Back away from Superman, now." Mr. Toad walks right past Batman and tells his obedient creature, "Make sure Batman doesn't follow." Batman steps back when the part rhino, part octopus, part crab-looking creature confronts him. The creature wants to tear Batman limb from limb. Batman can't take down the creature using pressure points. He tries, but it doesn't work. So instead, Batman latches on a concussion detonator on the creature's head. The creature is taken down to the ground. Batman looks out the window and sees Mr. Toad driving an ambulance with Superman inside. Mr. Toad is getting away. That's when tentacles from the octopus part of that creature starts to grab Batman's legs. Batman kicks his foot out and then jumps out the window and lands in an alley next to homeless people. Batman tells the homeless people to stay back. He's fine. The homeless people see that Batman's leg is messed up. They want to help Batman out because he's a friend of Superman. Superman treated them well. Batman tells them he has it under control. He gets on a bat cycle and drives off. We switch to a lab. Superman is strapped down and Mr. Toad over him. Then the real villain walks out of the shadows saying, "I must admit, I had doubts about you, but you've proven yourself worthy of the name, Mr. Toad." It is revealed to be Professor Pig. Mr. Toad asks Professor Pig to keep his magistrate associates away from his daughter. Professor Pig agrees and compliments Mr. Toad on creating the false face serum, but Professor Pig is trying to get back to basics. He's excited to experiment on Superman. That's when Superman wakes up slowly, and he looks at Professor Pig above him. Professor Pig has kryptonite in his hands. Professor Pig says, "Superman, you're awake. How delightful." Superman responds, "Where am I?" Professor Pig gets the kryptonite close to Superman's face and says, "Why? You're an art studio. I am the artist, you see, and you are my medium. Oink oink." We fast forward to later, and we see Batman on the Bat-Cycle looking over Gotham City. It's almost unrecognizable from where he's at. The Magistrate has changed a lot. Now, Batman takes off a cryogenic sleeve that Alfred created before he died. Batman wished he used it before. It worked actually really good, but taking it off now, he feels the pain in his leg after that fall from the window. Now, Batman looks into all the files that he gathered at Mr. Toad's hideouts about the false face serum, and he's going to try use this to find Superman somewhere in Gotham. We go back to the lab, Mr. Toad above Superman. The kryptonite is a little ways away. It's on a different table across the room. And Superman thinks that maybe he get enough strength to pretty much break out the straps that he's in and maybe break Mr. Toad because of what he did to him. But Superman decides to do something else. He wants to give Mr. Toad one more chance to change sides, maybe save Superman. Superman says, "You told me earlier that you wanted to fight the Magistrate. I heard your heartbeat, Mr. Toad. You meant every word. So why are you working for them?" Mr. Toad looks down and says, "I underestimated my opponent, Superman. Now I'm paying the price. I'm simply ensuring that my family doesn't pay too." Superman looks back up and says, "Is betraying your own beliefs really the best way to protect your family?" We switch back to Batman, and he's confronted by this Magistrate guard. Batman uses his batarangs to hit the guard in the neck and then pop off the guard's head. Now, this is more like a robot guard. It's not like Batman's actually killing a person. Now, before Batman can actually go forward, he is shocked by what he sees. Batman looks down and sees rats that have the eyes of Superman. Then he sees birds and bats that have the eyes of Superman. Basically, what the Magistrate are doing is they've taken the DNA of Superman, and since he has like X-ray vision and he's really good at catching stuff, they put that into animals to make animals really good security systems for the Magistrates. Now, Batman holds a bat. He's not gonna hurt it. It's not the bat's fault. It's the Magistrate's. Now, Batman goes on. He goes closer to the laboratory that holds Superman. He takes out some guards. He finds kryptonite. He looks up and says, "Oh hell." Now, that's when he looks back, and a person walks out of the shadows. This person says, "It's been said, Batman, that life is but a series of inspired follies. The difficulty is to find them to do. Never lose a chance. It doesn't come every day." The person is revealed to be Professor Pig. Batman looks at him and says, "I'm surprised the Magistrate hasn't locked you up. They aren't too fond of masks." Professor Pig responds, "Oh, don't be silly. They make an exception for surgeons. I heard you visit my little club. Did you enjoy yourself?" Batman says, "You mean the False Face Society?" Professor Pig takes off his gloves and says, "I must tell you, when the Magistrate first got wind of the society, they were going to grind them into the ground, but I convinced them otherwise. What better way to track dissidents than take charge of a dissident group? And now I have the best Mr. Toad ever, an artist like me. Oh, the masterpiece we created together." We see our Professor Pig's hands. After he takes off the gloves, he now has pig hands, basically. Yeah, guys, it's crazy. Batman looks up shocked. We go back to the operating room with Superman and Mr. Toad. Mr. Toad held Superman out. They start walking. Superman appreciates Mr. Toad's switch, so now Mr. Toad is on the good side. But that's when they're confronted by this big monster that has 6 different Superman eyes and the Superman symbol. Now, Superman tells Mr. Toad to stay behind him. The monster then blasts with heat vision, but Superman uses his cape to dodge, or more like reflect off of it. Then Superman gets his fist ready and he punches the monster in the face. The monster goes back. That's when Superman flies to the hallway and sees Batman. Superman says, "Bats?" Batman looks back and says, "Soups. Professor Pig has imbued himself with Superman's strength, the equivalent of 10 and a half wild boars, by my estimates. Oddly specific, but okay. Batman responds, let's trade opponents. Now Batman's gonna fight out against the Superman monster, and Superman's gonna fight out against Professor Pig. Superman goes to confront Professor Pig, but Professor Pig has Mr. Toad at his side. He pulls Mr. Toad close. Professor Pig is very mad that Mr. Toad betrayed him, but Superman is going to save Mr. Toad. Now we switch to Batman. He is far away from Superman now, and he pulls out the kryptonite. He throws kryptonite into the Superman's monster's chest, and it gives Batman a little time to plan ahead. From here, what happens is the monster actually shrinks down. He loses his abilities, and he's just a normal man. Now we go back to Superman. He looks up as Professor Pig has Mr. Toad close. Superman says, you treat me like raw material, Pig, like I have no soul. Professor Pig comments on that. He says, uncultured dimwit, I made art out of you. There's no greater honor. Superman goes to punch Professor Pig. He says, and worse, you've done the same to others. Professor Pig on the ground says, oh, how you rue these days. Oink, you could have been my masterpiece, Superman. Superman in the shadows says, this entire facility is dedicated to your awful experiments. Do me a favor, Mr. Toad. Pull the fire alarm. It is about to be a fire. Superman gets his heat vision ready. Mr. Toad pulls the fire alarm. And from there we see Superman, he unleashes all of his heat vision around the place. You see fire, explosions, everything. And Batman jumps out of the building barely with his guy, and Superman flies out of the building with Professor Pig and Mr. Toad in each hand. We see a big explosion behind them. We fast forward to next day, and we see Animal Man helps out Superman and Batman track down all the different animals across the city that Professor Pig basically changed. You know, all those animals like the bird, the bat, those ones that now the Magistrate has like security systems in them. Well, Animal Man finds every single one of them and pretty much helps them out. Now, Batman and Superman retreat to one of Batman's micro caves above Gotham's East End. Now, Superman knows the Magistrate is still out there. They have to take down the Magistrate now, put them out of commission. But Batman looks at him and says, we aren't doing it, Clark. I'm doing this alone. The Magistrate figured out how to grow synthetic kryptonite. It must have taken them months, maybe years. They were expecting you. That makes you a liability. Superman responds, Bruce, be reasonable. Batman cuts off Superman saying, I'm always reasonable. You can't beat the Magistrate because you can't see them for what they actually are. Superman responds, what are you talking about? They're a terrorist organization that Batman cuts them off against, saying, they're not a terrorist organization. The Magistrate didn't invade Gotham. We invited them in. We let our fear, our anger, our basic instincts overrule our judgment. Superman, with his cape dangling on the ground, says, individuals might lose their way, but an entire city? Come on, we have to trust that people eventually come to their senses. Batman grits his teeth, saying, the Magistrate explored your trust to capture you once. They'll do it again, and next time, they'll be unstoppable. Superman says, I won't let that happen. We won't let that happen. Batman then opens up his utility belt, saying, let me show you something. Batman then pulls out this blaster and hits Superman with red sun energy. And Superman ducks. He says, Bruce, explain yourself. He gets his heat vision ready. Batman shows the device and says, I harvested a clone of your eye from one of the Magistrate's genetically modified creatures. Gotham won't survive a militia armed with your DNA. There's no place for trust in Gotham, Superman. Get out of my city. Superman stops with his heat vision and just flies away, saying, you know why I'm leaving, Batman? Because I know you're going to handle it. I trust you, whether you like it or not. We switch to Blackgate Penitentiary, and we see Professor Pig. He kills a guard with one of his, you could say, tools, right? One of his items. Now, Professor Pig then gets away. He is loose in Gotham City again. Now, we switch to Baba, who is Mr. Toad. He shows up to his daughter's apartment, and he pretty much reunites with her, and he tells her that he's trying to do what's right. Now, before he can explain what actually happened, we hear a whoosh. Superman flies by and leaves a note. In this note, it has the Superman symbol, and it's basically for if Baba and Mina, if they ever get in trouble, they can call Superman. and he'll be there. Now, Superman flies off into Metropolis, and Baba and Mina, father and daughter, wave their hands. They're happy. Superman inspired them. Now, Mina, the daughter, says, "Baba, we'll do what's right. Together." This was actually the beginning of everything. Gotham is about to be really ruled by the Magistrate. Metropolis, things are about to happen to that. Superman's gonna be gone soon. So this was really like the start of Future States. And yeah, and that's how we end Future States, Batman, Superman. We enter the future of Gotham City. Gotham is ruled by a magistrate. A private security force patrols Gotham with shoot-on-sight orders. The Batman is #1 on their kill list. The new Batman dismantles this one criminal. They exchange blows, but Batman ultimately wins. The police show up and go to shoot. Batman escapes using his grappling gun. They're mad because they need to take out all the masks in Gotham City, and they just let the new Batman get away. Now we shift to the Fox residence. Luke Fox wakes up, and his mom tells him he should wake up earlier. They don't need another Bruce Wayne. Luke says he had late nights and tells his mom to take a break from managing papers. Luke goes to visit his sister Tam. We shift to the Little Santa Priskin neighborhood. A group of men with Bane masks listen to their leader. The leader gives two brothers, a chance to join the group. He tells the boys no one cares about them except the Banes. The leader tells the boys to man up and blood in. The two brothers talk it out and decide to join the group. The leader says, "See, told ya, there was familia. All they gotta do now is take a mask and be someone." Now we shift to the hospital. Luke Fox walks in to see his sister Tam. Tam isn't doing very well. Luke walks in and sees his brother, Tim. Luke tells him to leave because he knows that Tim hasn't been there for so long. He's been gone. He's supposed to be taking care of Tam, but Tim's just been off on his own, a criminal. Now, Luke calls Tim the Fox family screw-up. Tim gets very mad, shuts the door, and leaves the hospital. Luke sits down by his sister. His sister is in a coma. He feels sorry for his sister. We shift to the two Banes with the two brothers. They're in a car driving through hype territory in Gotham. A bad place to be alone in. They find a hype soldier. One Bane tries to shoot the hype soldier, but one of the other Banes stop him. The hype soldier notices and starts shooting at the car. The Banes try to run him over, but that's when Batman swoops in and saves the hype soldier. The Banes are freaked out that Batman is here. Batman flies into the front windshield. The Banes try to shoot. Batman disappears. He's gone. But that's when the car runs into a truck. Batman shows up and takes out the Banes. The two brothers begin to run into an alley. Batman takes out the different Banes. He grabs the Bane leader and tries to find out where the two brothers are going. The Bane refuses to answer. Batman then proceeds to knock him out. Then he goes to follow the two brothers into the alley. Batman tries to save them from the Peacekeepers. One of the brothers gives their gun to Batman. The other brother takes off running. The Peacekeepers spot them and begin to shoot. Batman drops the smoke bomb and saves the two brothers from being shot. They disappear. The Peacekeepers, aka police, or the security force, are mad that they got away. They're mad that Batman got away once again. We see Batman holding the two brothers in both of his hands on a ledge over Gotham. One brother says, Are you gonna put us in jail?" Batman responds, "I'm turning you over to Children's Services. What happens after that? It's up to you." Set in the year 2025. It's nighttime in Gotham City. We begin with Batman finding a man who was beaten to death. He has massive blunt force trauma. The person who killed this man left his wallet and phone. This wasn't a robbery. The man is still bleeding out. Batman wants to be stealthy in his investigation. But there's no reason for that anymore. A security camera is pointed right at him. The police will arrive in a matter of minutes. Batman uses the explosive device to break into the restaurant. He kicks down the door into a security room. Batman goes through all the security footage to find out what happened. Batman analyzes the footage. 2 supposed criminals beat the guy to death. There's no face recognition. The police arrive 40 seconds earlier than expected. They're getting better. The police walk through the restaurants. One officer looks up and sees Batman coming at him. Batman dismantles all but one police officer. The last of the officers points his gun at Batman. Batman escapes through a restaurant window. The police stand outside ready. They say, "Hands up." Batman gets out his yellow batarangs and throws them at the police. Batman runs as fast as he can. The police shoot Batman in the ribs. He's bleeding now. Batman falls to the ground. The police approach. Batman throws a smoke bomb. The police lose sight of the vigilante. But that's when they look into an alley. Out of the alley comes Batman riding on a motorcycle. The police try to shoot, but Batman drives off. Batman calls on his associate, Val. Batman has transferred the footage he found to Val. Batman tells Val to see what evidence he can dig up. Magistrate drones approach. Batman ends his call with Val, his associates, and drives his motorcycle into an alley. He shuts off his phone so he can't be tracked by the Magistrate drones. Batman heads after the criminals who killed the beaten man. We shift to Tanya Fox talking with Mayor Nakano of Gotham City. She says the magistrate's shoot-on-sight orders are not good enough. Nakano is surprised that Tanya is against his laws. Tanya says she agrees with taking down vigilantes. What they've done to her family, her husband, her daughter, Tamara, wasn't right. She says the laws are not standing up to the challenge of taking down masks. Nakano promotes Tanya to DA so she can make law enforcement rock solid in Gotham. Nakano says he's trying to do things different with law. They tried going full force on the vigilantes, but it didn't stand up to the legal challenge. Tanya tells Nakano that what he is doing with the peacekeepers and magistrates are forcing the law even more. There's nothing fair about any of what Nakano's doing. Tanya is against the city's firepower. Nakano responds, "The city contracts its ordinance through Fox Tech. If you have a problem with firepower, maybe you should talk to your husband." Tanya says, "Lucius and I had a few conversations." Nakano says, "Have a few more. Have you tried stopping Batman with just an ordinary gun?" Tanya grits her teeth and says, "No, I haven't, but it'd be my pleasure to try." We shift to Batman hiding in a storage area, his motorcycle parts. He takes off his mask. It's Tim Fox. Tim has used compression packs to stop his bleeding. He rests. He's afraid that if he can't take down the police, how will he take down the peacekeepers? Tim calls his partner Val. Val gives him a location on where the criminals he was looking for are at. Val asks, "Is this worth getting caught up with peacekeepers?" Tim says it is. What these criminals did to the victim he saw, they are animals. Tim says, "I walked away from justice once. Never again." Tim drives off his motorcycle. We shift to peacekeepers at the scene of the beaten man. They discuss how they must catch Batman or find the criminals who commit the crime before peacekeeper number 1 gets involved. A detective asks for the peacekeeper's help. The peacekeeper captain says, "Not our problem, detective." He explains that the peacekeeper's job isn't to protect the citizens of Gotham or investigate crime scenes. Their job is to kill the They discuss how they must catch Batman or find the criminals who commit the crime before peacekeeper number 1 gets involved. Questions if these peacekeepers are the best thing for Gotham. We shift to the 2 criminals about to break into a building. Batman shows up. The criminals try to fight back, but Batman dismantles both of them. They lose their weapons. Batman starts punching one of the criminals non-stop until the other criminal shouts, "Stop!" It's a woman. She asks Batman not to hurt her husband. She was the one who killed the beaten man. Batman asks, "Why?" The husband gets up and says, "Because he killed our daughter. The man Batman found dead, he was not a good man. He got into a girl's head, told her to visit him. That little girl was never found again. So her parents went on the dark web and found someone to kill the man who made their daughter disappear." The woman says to Batman, The man was a murderer. The guilty deserve to be punished. You are the Batman. Don't you believe that? Batman thinks for a second, then agrees. The guilty should be punished. Both the parents should be punished too, though. They murdered a man. The wife says, "That monster took our little girl. We have nothing. What else can you do to us?" Lights shine in the alley. Batman looks. The peacekeepers arrive. The captain says, "Batman is not the one you have to worry about. We are." Two criminals, husband and wife, sit on the ground, awaiting their death by the peacekeepers. Batman stands up. He tries to give himself over to save the couple, but the peacekeepers open fire. Batman needs to buy time for help to arrive. He throws a bomb to take down the cyberbots. The couple stay close to Batman as he jumps in the battle with the Magistrate forces. He takes down multiple cyberbots, all in one sequence. The captain of the peacekeepers tells the squad, "Rally up, somebody get eyes on Batman." Batman throws electric bombs at the peacekeepers. The captain watches his crew fall to the ground, defeated. He goes to shoot at Batman. Batman dodges and punches the captain in the face. Both Batman and the captain exchange blows, but in the end, Batman gets the knockout blow. Batman goes to help out the couple. They're about to leave on Batman's motorcycle. That's when a Magistrate drone appears. The drone destroys the motorcycle and confronts the Batman. The drone aims to kill Batman, but Batman grabs a rock and throws it right through the drone, destroying it. Batman and a couple of criminals run off. The criminals choose Batman over the Magistrates. Batman leads the way, still knowing that the Magistrate is going after him. We fast forward to the captain named Stance reporting his failure to Peacekeeper 01. Peacekeeper 01 notes all of Captain Stance's mistakes. He should not identify himself. He should try harder. This is not the real Batman. The real Batman is dead. Or at least that's what Peacekeeper 01 thinks, right? Now, Peacekeeper 01 redeploys Captain Stance's team of Peacekeepers. He tells them to not report back to him until the new Batman is dead. Captain Stance goes back to his team of Peacekeepers and calls dibs on putting a bullet in Batman's head when the time comes. We shift to Batman and the two criminals arriving at a church. Well, it used to be a church. Now it's a safe house. The couple asks Batman, "Why are you doing this? Why are you helping us?" Batman responds, "You wanted to know if I believe in justice. Yeah, I do. You two deserve a trial, not an execution." Now, this isn't the only reason that Batman brought the two along. Batman has taken a bullet from the Peacekeepers. Once he removes his armor, he'll bleed out, he'll die. So Batman needs the couple's help in saving him. Now, the couple uses a flare to burn Batman's wound once he opens his armor. The burn works good enough to buy Batman some time. But still, we shift to the Fox family household. Lucius and his wife Tanya have a heated argument about the shoot-on-sight law order. Tanya thinks the law is bad. She thinks it's not good enough. She's struggling to figure out a plan. Lucius tells her, "If you can't do your job, then back off and let the Peacekeepers do theirs." Now, obviously, this response angers Tanya, and she walks away telling Lucius, "I'm going back to my office to figure out how to save this law." Tanya walks into the living room and is confronted by her daughter, Tamara. Tamara is against the ideal of the Peacekeepers. Tanya doesn't like the Peacekeepers either, but she thinks vigilantes should be taken down. Justice does not wear a mask. Tanya walks away, and Tamara decides to go visit her brother Luke in the other room. Now, Luke Fox is in the workout room just punching a bag, and Tamara confronts him and asks him, "Are you Batman?" And Luke responds no, but Tamara thinks Luke is lying. She remembers him lying about Batwing. Guys, this is a cool reference, cool throwback, but Luke then tells her he wasn't lying. He just never told her. Luke begins to talk about his family. He still thinks that Lucius, his father, is messed up from the Joker War. Tanya is too focused on the mass vigilante law, while Tim abandoned the family, so he's not really a good guy. Now Tamara disagrees. She still holds out hope for Tim. He is her brother after all. Now Tamara is unsure about vigilantes. Luke gives his advice on it. He was once under a mask, so he gets it. He believes anyone willing to go out and deal with the nonsense of Gotham has to be a good person. Now this is ironic, because he just said that Tim is not a good person because of all the things he did, but then he's a mask, he's Batman, so he is a good person because Luke believes that anyone to put on a mask and deal with Gotham has to be a good guy. I'm honestly looking forward to see how Luke will respond when he finds out that Tim is actually Batman. We shift to Batman. He calls Detective Chubb. Batman needs the detective's help. The detective wants to shoot Batman and find the killers of Dreshevsky. Batman just so happens to have the two criminals at his side. So guys, Dreshevsky was the guy who got beat to death by the couple, because he kidnapped their daughter, or they think that he killed their daughter. So there's some tension. The couple went after him, beat him to death, and now they're not in the best place. The detective is just going after them. Batman has them in custody, and he's going to turn them over. But Batman is not just going to turn them over to die. He wants them to have a trial. They don't deserve to die. There's a story behind their motives. Detective Chubb tells Batman she'll be at the church in an hour to pick up the two criminals. They will get a trial. She also tells Batman that the peacekeepers show up, she's going against him. Detective Chubb does not want to put herself up against the peacekeepers. Batman is fine with the plan. He'll take his chances. Batman gets off the phone, but the husband named Eric of the couple attacks. He beats Batman to the ground. He doesn't want to be turned in. Eric's wife tries to stop him, but Eric elbows her in the face. He gets a rope and ties it around Batman's neck. Eric thinks that the peacekeepers show up and find Batman dead. Then maybe he'll be set free. They won't kill him. So, Eric gets a tight grip on the rope and begins to strangle Batman. How will Batman get out of this situation in the next issue? The fugitive, Eric, continues to strangle Batman. His wife tells him to stop. Tim Fox Batman begins to black out, but then he cuts Eric in the arm and kicks him back across the church. Eric gets up and picks up a stick. He tells Batman, "You're tough. Let's see if you're tough as steel." Batman responds, "Put it down." Eric's wife says, "Eric, please." Eric drops the stick. Eric admits that he was the one who killed the businessman Dreshevsky. It was his idea, and he beat the man to death the most with a hammer. It wasn't really his wife. Now, Eric's wife says she's involved too. She doesn't want her husband to take the fall for their actions. Eric says to Batman, "Please, the police need to know I'm the one who did it." Batman responds, "Just to be real with you, I don't care who did what. You're both going in. And you come at me again, I'll dump you at the feet of the peacekeepers. Clear?" Now, Eric responds, "Clear." Eric's wife says, "What's the plan?" Batman responds, "There is no plan. We steal a vehicle, try to keep ahead of the peacekeepers, and make a run to City Hall." You see Batman, Eric, and the wife go outside the church, and they head into this red car. Now, Eric says, "City Hall is..." Batman cuts him off. 32 blocks from here. 3 miles. The peacekeepers will already be tracking the call I made, so they'll be waiting. Take these. They give off a 0.5 microcoulomb charge. Might buy some time if we need it. So Batman gives these bombs to both Eric and his wife. Now, Batman says to Eric, "If they get past me, press the trigger. Throw this and then haul tail. The peacekeepers are armored. They'll survive. You won't." Eric says, "You trust me with this?" And Batman says, "No, but I trust you'll protect Sarah." Batman, Eric, and Sarah drive off in the red car on the streets of Gotham. The peacekeepers go after them on high-tech motorcycles. They open fire on the red car. Batman hits the brakes hard, and the peacekeepers hit the back of the red car. The peacekeepers go flying off their motorcycles into the streets. Batman turns around the car and drives off. Eric alerts Batman that the Peacekeepers are back up and on the motorcycles, still chasing them. Batman kicks up the speed in the car. He then tells Sarah to throw the bombs he gave her. Sarah throws the bombs, and since the bombs are magnetized, they aim perfectly at the Peacekeepers. Multiple Peacekeepers fall off their motorcycles and hit the ground hard. Magistrate forces begin to chase the red car. Batman tries to drive off, but the red car is losing speed. Eric says, "We aren't going to make it, are we?" Batman responds, 13 more blocks? No, we're not going to make it. Eric then looks at Batman. He says, "Remember what I told you. It was me, not Sarah." Eric then jumps out of the car into the streets. The Peacekeepers continue to drive and go to run over Eric. Eric takes out the bomb that Batman gave him and he pulls the trigger. An explosion occurs, taking out a multitude of Magistrate forces. Sarah shouts her husband's name as he dies. Sarah begins to tear up. Batman tries to keep driving. He tries to avoid hitting Gotham citizens on the road. Batman pulls a U-turn and gets out of the car with Sarah. Tim Fox Batman is confronted by his mother, Tanya. Tim pulls out a batarang. He throws the batarang and wounds his mother. She's hurt, but not dead. She falls to the ground. That's when Captain Stance shows up out of the explosion prior. Captain Stance confronts Batman with 2 knives. Captain Stance attacks, but he gets wrecked by Tim Fox Batman. Batman takes the knives and stabs them into Captain Stance's chest and leg. He then punches the captain multiple times before Captain Stance is bleeding a lot on the floor. Sarah stops Batman from taking a step too far. Batman and Sarah escape the situation. Batman and Sarah head to the church and meet up with Detective Chubb. Batman hands Sarah over. He tells Detective Chubb to search into the case a little more. There's a missing girl, Eric and Sarah's daughter. Detective Chubb is surprised Batman survived the Peacekeepers. Chubb then asks Batman if his suit is bulletproof. Batman responds, "Mostly, but the kinetic energy from a bullet still hurts." Detective Chubb takes out a gun and shoots Batman in the chest. She tells Batman to take it easy with her phone number. Batman agrees. Now we fast forward and we see Tim. He shows up to the hospital to comfort his mother. There we have Tamara, Lucius, and Luke. Now, Tim says, "Dad, is Mom alright?" Now, Luke responds, "Where you been? You look like hell. Which is it? Drugs or liquor?" Now, Tim looks at his brother and says, "I'm not here to eat your crap, okay? I'm here for Mom." Now, Luke says, "Showing up late and lit up? That's how you're here for her?" Lucius interjects. He says, "Luke, stop it." Now, Luke responds, "If I've got it wrong, Tim can say so." Tim looks at Tamara, then looks at Luke and says, "My business is my business." Luke responds, "Whatever." Lucius says, "Jace, go see your mother." Now, Luke goes over to Tamara and says, "Why do you all coddle him with that Jace crap? He's always gotten everything he's wanted. That needs to end. And until he gets his crap together, Tim needs to go." Tamara responds, "Maybe, or maybe us foxes need to get ourselves together." Tim walks into the room where his mother, Tanya, is. She's in a bed. She is wounded, but she's fine. Tim sits down. He says, "Mom, how are you doing?" Tanya responds, "I'm alright." And Tim says, "Dad said..." Now Tanya cuts him off, saying, "It was Batman. I had the chance to stop him, but he tried to kill me." And that's when Tim responds, "Maybe he's just Batman's good at what he does. Maybe he was just trying to..." Now Tanya cuts him off again, saying, "I'll tell you the same thing I told your sister. People who do right don't need masks. Not ever. This Batman is dangerous. He needs to be stopped by any means." Now Tim takes his mother's hand and says, Let's not worry about that right now. Right now, let's just worry about you getting better. Let's just worry about being a family." And that's how we conclude Future State's The Next Batman. We begin with cyberbots approaching this couple in an alleyway. That's when Nightwing runs and jumps off a building into the city of Gotham. We see that Nightwing is the most wanted man in Gotham. The cyberbots begin to threaten the couple. The couple is very scared. Nightwing arrives on the situation and uses his Eskrima sticks to take down the cyberbots. The couple are saved. They are very grateful. The husband goes to shake Nightwing's hand, but Nightwing knocks the man in the head with his escrima sticks. The Cyberbots aren't the only Magistrate forces in this alley. The couple are a part of the Magistrates as well. This whole incident is a setup. The man goes to attack and says, "I've got you." Nightwing kicks the man to the ground and says, "You don't. You are not the threat." Nightwing looks at the woman and notices that she has powers. Nightwing says to the woman, "What tricks do you have up your sleeve?" The woman says, "No tricks, just knives." Nightwing fights the woman and eventually takes her out with a smoke bomb. The couple are defeated. Nightwing looks up at a rooftop. Throughout this event, a sniper was watching. He was directing the Magistrate forces, the couple, and the Cyberbots. But Nightwing has found him. Nightwing shows up behind him and pins the sniper to the rooftop and asks how many teams does the Magistrate have set up. The sniper responds, "More than 10, less than 100. All these teams are meant to trick Nightwing and capture him." Nightwing calls the sniper an idiot. The sniper says the incident was worth it. He got to meet the head of the mass resistance, Nightwing. Nightwing lets the sniper sit up. He tells the sniper, "You're not worth it. None of you are. Tell Peacekeeper number 1 that for me." Nightwing begins to walk away. The sniper taunts Nightwing and mentions the death of Batman. Nightwing throws an escrima stick at the sniper's femur. Nightwing flees the rooftop, leaving the man. The man calls the Magistrate and says, "Mission accomplished." We shift to the Magistrate headquarters. Captain Marks walks into the office of Peacekeeper number 1. Captain Marks tells them that Nightwing is theirs. They have him hooked. Peacekeeper number 1 says, "Let's wait and see, Captain. He was the Bat's hands, a strong right, no less." Captain Mark responds, "Hence the layers of misdirection required." Peacekeeper number 1 threatens to take away Captain Mark's role as Peacekeeper number 6. Peacekeeper number 1 does not like when people try to explain his plan. Peacekeeper number 1 says, "Our goal is clear. End the mass threats. Give Gotham its freedom. Give the city back to the correct people. Progress has been good so far. Our hard screw-up is working. Except Nightwing. He's having too much success in his plans. Example must be made." Peacekeeper number 1 grabs the name post of Commissioner Montoya. He brings up the fact that Nightwing still thinks Batman is dead. Captain Marks will use that as good ammunition when she meets Nightwing. Peacekeeper number 1 sends Captain Marks after Nightwing. He concludes with, "Victory is mandatory." He cracks the name post of Montoya in half. We see Nightwing make it back to his hideouts, Arkham Asylum. He's tired. He doesn't know how much longer he can last. Dick takes off the Nightwing mask and calls the Bat family. He calls the mass resistance. He talks to Barbara Gordon, Batgirl. He tells Barbara that the Magistrates are getting stronger, but they will keep fighting. Dick says, "We need to fight until it's over, and until we win, just like he would have." So, Dick is mentioning Bruce Wayne, his mentor, Batman, because when Dick met Batman, Batman cared for him. He helped him out. So Dick, now that Batman's gone, he wants to honor the memory of his mentor. He wants to keep fighting. He wants to beat the Magistrates. Barbara tells Dick that there's a new Batman in Gotham City. Dick says he's heard about the new Batman, and he tells Barbara that he'll look for the new Batman himself. It'll be his job. Now, Dick shuts off the call with the mass resistance and walks away from the computer. He then proceeds to take a shower. He tries to reset, refocus, and prepare. Now, he needs to take down Peacekeeper number 1 and the Magistrates. No more victims in Gotham. Dick thinks he let Bruce down. He couldn't save his mentor, but that's when Dick hears a noise. Someone is in Arkham Asylum. Dick gets out of the shower and fights against the intruder. The intruder knocks Dick to the ground and says, "We need to talk." The new Batman stands over Dick Grayson. Dick then activates maximum voltage and electrocutes the new Batman from all sides. Batman falls to the ground, knocked out. 20 minutes later, Tim Fox Batman wakes up in his seat. He's stuck. Nightwing walks toward him and asks, "Why are you in Arkham Asylum?" Batman says, because of a case, Sarah Doel. Batman explains that a little girl, 10 years old, has been kidnapped by the Magistrates. Batman rescued her once, and they have a strong bond. The Magistrate are interrogating her to figure out more about the new Batman. Batman thinks the little girl, Sarah, is dead by now. Batman is mad that he couldn't save a little girl. The new Batman says, I need to be a part of the resistance. I can help. That's when an alarm goes off. Captain Marks and a Delta force of officers are outside of Arkham. They're heading in. Nightwing reveals that when he was shot by one of the officers' bullets, the bullet contained nanotech that could track him. Nightwing led the Magistrate forces to Arkham. Batman says, the Magistrate bugged you, tracked you here, and you let him? Why? Nightwing responds, because I'm tired of this. This way I have the home field advantage. I'm done with all of this. No more border skirmishes. It's time to make a statement. I'm going to war. Nightwing and the new Batman wait inside ready to fight as Captain Marks and the multitude of Magistrates forces charge in. Outside of Arkham Asylum, Jackal News reporter Michael Johnson has an exclusive breaking story. He says, we're here with Peacekeeper 06 and the Magistrates as they launch an assault on the secret fortress of Nightwing, the leader of the masked terrorist. Peacekeeper, for too long this monster and his thugs have brutalized our city. How do you and your brave troops plan on taking down such a dangerous criminal? Peacekeeper 06 looks up and says, with the only method that works for his kind, without mercy. The news reporter looks at the screen and says, God bless you and the Magistrates. You are all true patriots. The next Batman says, this isn't being broadcast right now. Nightwing responds, when it is, it'll be presented as though it's alive, for authenticity. Now the next Batman responds, nothing like having your own fastest TV network to really get the propaganda out there. I hear the Mia Mongol that Peacekeeper 06 bought it off of was happy it was going to a good home. Now Nightwing goes to the computer and says, break me in my base publicly, humiliate me, turn me into a show. It's why they tracked me here rather than take me on in the streets. Yeah, here, a victory can be total. Now, the next Batman says, they've come well equipped and in numbers. Nightwing looks at the screen and says, as expected, let's get calling. That's when we hear a whoosh, and we see outside that this barrier is going through where Peacekeeper 06 and the news reporters and all the different officers are. And what it does is it takes down all of the different cameras and everything that helps the media. So it eliminates all this media coverage of the events. Now, the news reporter says, my camera, how am I going to, what the hell was that? And Peacekeeper 06 looks up and says, EMP blast. Now, Nightwing back inside Arkham Asylum says, EMP blast, a powerful one, can get through most shielding, should take out any other cameras and most of their tech for good, and their cybers and tanks, for a little while at least. Now, Tim Fox says, so what's next? Nightwing says, next, simple, you're leaving. Now, Tim Fox is surprised, he says, what? And Nightwing pulls out a tray and gets his Scrima sticks. He says, the blast will give a person of your abilities enough coverage to slip out. But I'd hurry if I were you. The amount of energy that EMP uses means it's a one done. Now that's when Tim Fox grabs Nightwing by the wrist and says, no, Nightwing, this isn't going to work. Why are you trying to protect me? I chose to find you or come here to prove myself to you. I chose this life. Now, Nightwing responds, what I've got planned for tonight, the risk versus reward ratio is tight, even by our standards. If I don't live to see another day, Gotham should have at least one of us. It needs a Batman. And Tim Fox responds, thank you. But from what I understand, Batman decides who in Gotham needs his help. And right now, that's you, okay? Now, Nightwing says, well, dynamic duo it is then. We see Nightwing and the next Batman walking out into battle. We see both of them jump out and just start dismantling all these Magistrate officers. Like, Nightwing kicks him in the face, Tim Fox, the next Batman, knees him in the face. They really take these officers down in like a couple seconds. Nightwing walks over to one of the officers beating on the floor. He pulls off the officer's helmets and says, what were your orders? The officer responds, shoot to kill. Now Nightwing says, under what conditions? What if we surrendered? And the officer says, any conditions. Now that's when Tim Fox says, those were some interesting unnecessary questions. And Nightwing responds, I have my reasons. And Tim Fox, the next Batman, says, I'm shocked, part of the unknown plan. And Nightwing says, that's real. That was supposed to be a last resort. Move! We see a blast that was going to kill the next Batman, but Nightwing got him out of the way just in time. New officers walk in. They say, contact, Alpha's down. Now Nightwing attacks. He says, finish this discussion later. The next Batman responds, rain check. And Nightwing says, for now, keep hurrying them. Keep making this siege a nightmare for the magistrates. We go outside Arkham Asylum, and one of the officers say, the squad should be back by now, but with comms still out, and Peacekeeper 06 cuts him off, saying, tank's back online. And that's when the officer responds, yes, Peacekeeper 06. Weapon systems and automated pilot programs are up and running. Now, Peacekeeper 06 responds, fire missiles. And the officer says, but our soldiers are still... And Peacekeeper 06 cuts him off again, saying, don't! The most important lesson my life has taught me. Nothing trumps stopping this scum. Fire! We see these cans just fire. We are thum a thum and that boom 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 as all of Arkham Asylum just begins to explode. Now Peacekeeper 06 looks at the fire and says, doesn't that look beautiful? And the officer says, the cybers are also now functional, Captain. And Peacekeeper 06 says, good, they can collect the bodies after I'm done. Fire again, but that's when Peacekeeper 06 is hit in the face. She looks to the side and sees Batgirl. Batgirl says, please, stop, pretty please. And we see the resistance in front of Peacekeeper 06. Huntress, Cassandra Cain Batgirl, Talia al Ghul, Barbara Gordon Oracle, Two-Face, Robin, Tim Drake, Man-Bats, and Batwoman. They all attack. And we see this huge fight that breaks off. Things begin to pop off from here, and it's awesome. Nightwing sees this from inside Arkham Asylum and he says, no, why are they here? And the next Batman responds, I called them. I'm good with computers, including yours. Nightwing then says, didn't you hear what I said? The risk, it was not part of the plan. It was not your decision to make. Now, the next Batman steps up. He says, I did hear. I also heard what you said about Gotham needing Batman. It needs Batman just as much as its heroes need Nightwing. We're leaving now. Now we shift back to the fight and we see the Bat family, or the Resistance you could say, taking down all these different officers. And that's when Oracle says, rescue mission is almost over, people. The growly bat-esque voice in my ear tells me it's time to move out. Now Peacekeeper 06 walks up to Barbara Gordon saying, I am going to flay the skin off your bones and turn it into a warm winter coat and use your eyes as buttons. Did you think we weren't prepared for you and your scum showing up? Now, Barbara Gordon responds, from what I see, you weren't even close. Going after our leader is a great motivator. Hey, do you mind if he joins us? Now, I'm more of a motorbike person, but he's dying to show off his new car. We see the next Batman, Nightwing, drive off in this slick new Nightwing type car. It looks really cool. They drive through and Peacekeeper 06 then shouts, no, all the scum are. Now the news reporter then says, you idiot. I got no footage. The story's escaping. You just got your butt kicked. What am I going to tell the network? And Peacekeeper 06 grabs the news reporter by the neck and says nothing. What vehicles are still running? The officer responds, just yours, Peacekeeper. And Peacekeeper 06 says, get it. Now they're going after Nightwing and Tim Fox, the next Batman, because they just drove off out of Arkham Asylum. They switch to Nightwing and the next Batman in the car. And Batman says, nice ride. Nightwing responds, I've been tinkering with it for a while. Now Batman responds, where are we headed? And Nightwing says, to a safe house in Bloodhaven that served the Resistance well. Now Batman responds, I'm sorry, but I had to contact them. If they had lost their leader after already losing, Nightwing cuts him off saying, him, yeah, it would have been bad. You did the right thing. Losing my hero made me overprotective of heroes who clearly don't need me to be. And that's when Batman looks at Nightwing saying, does this mean I'm in your little club? And Nightwing smiles saying, you're not out. Let's start there. Hopefully I got enough of what I was after. Now, that's when the next Batman responds, saying, which is what? Exactly. For a moment, I thought it might have been revenge, but that's when we hear a crack-oom as the car is crashed into by a Magistrate mobile. The car flips over and Nightwing tries to get out, but Peacekeeper 06 shows up. She says, "Be still, my being mechanical hearts. Look at the killer pair I've drawn, the little prince and the pretender. We had no idea you were working together. This almost makes up for the rest of the nights. Almost." That's when Peacekeeper 06 goes to attack. Nightwing says, "Watch out for her arms." And Batman says, "What do they do?" And Nightwing says, "They punch really hard. They also catch." We see Peacekeeper 06 grab Nightwing and the next Batman by their ankles and throw them to the ground. And Peacekeeper 06 gets on top of the next Batman. She says, "My arms destroyed too, all the flying rodents the city is plagued by." That's when Nightwing shocks Peacekeeper 06 with his Eskrima sticks. He says, "Elizabeth Marcus, the ultimate hypocrite. Your records, your identity were expunged from everything. Evidence suggests it was a favor from Peacekeeper 01. Both your parents were brutally murdered when you were 14 years old. You were the only witness." Now, Nightwing puts his two Eskrima sticks together. They clash, and you see this electric blast. Now, Nightwing says, "You were too traumatized to give a full account to police. They were able to glean from you that the attacker wore a purple suit and had a laugh that must have come from hell. I know what it is to see your family destroyed, to lose the people you love the most. We're not the villains you want us to be, Elizabeth." Now, Peacekeeper 06 shouts, "Villains? Heroes? Mask? You're all the same. You're all just scum. Scum that needs to be cleansed from our lives. Just like what we did to your Batman." Nightwing hits his two Eskrima sticks together. He says, "You're wrong, Marks. You'll never stop Batman. Batman's Gotham. Batman's forever." Peacekeeper 06 and Nightwing go to collide. Peacekeeper 06 says, "Come on then. Time to join your dead king." Nightwing throws Peacekeeper 06 to the ground. Peacekeeper 06 says, "You're going to take my life now, aren't you? Vengeance for your bats I helped kill? Do it. But now I'll just be replaced. Tomorrow, there are so many more like me. The Magistrate will win." Nightwing then says, "I don't want your death. I don't want a martyr. I want your reputation, yours and the Magistrate's." News crew reveal. Nano swarm camera, silent, visible, and totally EMP proof. Not true nanotech, like the Tracy agent your sniper shot me with, but I think the name fits. I've been tinkering with them for a while. They've been recording everything that's happened tonight from Arkhan to now. Every terrible thing you and your soldiers have said or done, and everything you've lost. Raw, unedited, unspinnable failure. Now, that's when the next Batman says, "Total victory, huh?" Now, Peacekeeper 06 says, "You can't, don't!" And Nightwing pretty much gives her like a peace sign. He's like, "Peace out." And he says, "I'll send you an invite to the premiere." Now, the next Batman and Nightwing begin to walk away. The next Batman says, "Some very big moves, well done." Nightwing responds, "Big moves are how we're going to defeat the Magistrates. Gotham's media is bought and paid for, but there are others." Nightwing begins to fall to the ground, but Batman catches him. He says, "Got you. You had redundancies." Now, Nightwing says, "If I had died, the footage would have been automatically released, and my systems at Arkham have already been wiped." Now, Batman says, "Thorough." And Nightwing says, "I was taught well." Huh, that's a surprise. And Batman says, And that's when Nightwing looks up. He says, "Morning, another day." Nightwing and the next Batman walk out into the morning. This night is done, but they'll keep fighting every night to take back Gotham from the Magistrates. And that's how he ends Future State's Nightwing. We begin in Alleytown, Gotham City, 2025. Selina Kyle is trying to board a train. The Magistrate control everything in Gotham City. They give harm to anybody who goes against the rules just by a little bit. A Magistrate captain talks to his comrade, a councilwoman named Miss Canoris. He says, "Incisive action is all the Magistrate needs to ensure a return to civility in Gotham City." He continues to say how Gotham will be a great city again. A homeless man starts charging at the captain and the councilwoman. The homeless man calls the Magistrate fascists. He says, "We're the city of Gotham, not those in their high castles. You wouldn't dare if Batman was still alive." The captain responds, We do not tolerate hysterics here. Police surround the homeless man, begin to beat him from all sides. We shift to Selina, leading a group of strays. They're still trying to take back Alleytown. The police beat the homeless man till he's bleeding across his face. The police notice Selina leading a stray movement. They tell all the people to stop following Selina. The police point their guns. The strays stop. They don't want to be beat like the homeless man. The councilwoman and the captain board the train and leave the strays behind. The captain introduces his councilwoman, Miss Canoris, to the train workers. The captain tells the workers to run a tight operation. No mistakes. They go off on a 4-hour journey to the Whiteport's reformatory. We shift to Catwoman getting ready to do a heist on the Pullman Bridge. She's trying to make it onto this train. Selina's friend, Leo, charges up the futuristic motorcycle and gives coordinates for the train. Leo tells Selina to save everyone in the train, including the kids. Leo asks Selina how she'll do it. She'll get overpowered. Selina says she has someone on the inside helping. Cheshire Cats. The strays question if Catwoman can pull off her plan. Selina's plan is to rescue Bruce Wayne. Her love is on the train. Selina tells the strays to stick to the plan. Don't screw up. Catwoman drives off and tries to catch up to the train. Catwoman drives her motorcycle off a bridge. Selina jumps off and lands on the train. Her new suit does the trick. Selina is officially attached to the train. Leo on the comms tells Selina that she has to get inside the train soon. In 12 minutes, her suit magnets will fail and she'll fall off the train. Selina says, "Gee, thanks, Leo." One of the strays in the train asks the officers for a bathroom break. The officer says, "No. You are only allowed to go to the bathroom on scheduled breaks." The stray kid gets up anyway and goes to open the train door. The officer goes to shoot. He gets ready, aims at the kid. The stray kid opens the door just in time for Catwoman to swing in and take down the officer. Selina throws the officer off the train into a rain puddle. Selina alerts her stray team that she's inside the train. We see the councilwoman, Miss Canoris, go to a section in the train. This section has extra guards. These guards are watching Bruce Wayne, who's knocked out in a water cell. Now we see Selina. She starts heading toward the front of the train. She takes down multiple officers. She uses her whip to hit them and throw them to the ground. Selina then finds Onomatopoeia, the villain who only speaks in sounds. Selina gives the villain a deal. If she lets him free, he'll help her take down all the officers up to the front end of the train. Selina releases Onomatopoeia and says, "You better not make me regret this." Officers approach. Selina tells Onomatopoeia to get his crap together. They are running out of time. Onomatopoeia takes the fabric off the dead officer's suit. He wraps the fabric around his head. He draws a circle on the fabric with the officer's blood. The multiple officers walking are frightened by Onomatopoeia. Selina and Onomatopoeia team up to dismantle all these guards. Onomatopoeia says, "Whip, whip, kapow." We shift to the captain ordering his officers to take down the Catwoman. The captain and his men walk away. The councilwoman asks one of the officers, "Well, what's going on?" The officer says, "Nothing to worry about. Plus, we called in a peacekeeper in case things get too out of hands. I'll be standing by your side to ensure your safety." The councilwoman says, "How unfortunate for you." She stabs the officer in the neck, killing him. Turns out this councilwoman is Talia al Ghul. She walks over to the containment cell of Bruce Wayne. She says, "Can you hear me, Bruce?" Bruce wakes up. Alleytown, Gotham 2025. A bunch of officers are knocked out on the ground. Selina calls in for Cheshire. She gets no answer. We then see Cheshire swinging multiple guards and knocking them out. She tells Selina, "Give me a second, I'm a little busy." Cheshire finishes taking down these officers and then reports to Selina. Cheshire is going to blow up a magistrate base using different charged bombs. Cheshire puts the last of the charges and heads out of the building. She reports to her teammates, Leo. Leo knows the plan. The charges will blow up the base, the hardline feeding the power to the train will be dead. If the train is hit right when it goes through the Irontown tunnel, then Selina will be given the window to rescue Bruce. Leo calls in for Selina. Leo is worried for Selina. She's on comms, but she sounds like she's hurt badly. Selina reassures Leo that she's fine. She shuts off her comm and lays down. There's a multitude of guards around her knocked out. Selina is exhausted. We switch to Cheshire, watching the Magistrate base blow up into fire. You are loud, fracoom! The Magistrate get alert of the destroyed base. The train's power is lost. The train is on its emergency reserves. The strays all follow Selina's plan, but they are worried for her. Selina is currently on the ground, passed out. From here we go inside Selina's mind. She's above Bruce's dead body in a coffin. She says, "I'm trying, Bruce. This isn't me. You know I don't stick my neck out. I don't save people. I'm no hero." Now Selina falls to the ground. She says, "But I'm all they've got. I'm trying. I don't know how to do this. And you're gone. I could use a little help." Now, behind Selina is Batman. Batman says, "Not gone, Selina. Dead. Bruce Wayne is dead, and I'm all that's left. You want to know why he did it? All those times cut to shreds and shot up and bleeding and broken. He did it because he was afraid he'd end up in this way, alone and trapped in the dark with no one but me for company." Now, Bruce sits up and grabs Selina and says, "You want to get out of here? Wake up again. You need to be afraid of the same thing, Selina. You need to know that down here in the dark, Bruce Wayne may be dead, but Batman lives. Now stand up." Slap. Now Selina says, "What?" Slap. Now she wakes up and she sees Onomatopoeia above her, going to slap her. Selina catches Onomatopeia's hand and says, "Touch me again, I'll tear your arm off." Onomatopoeia steps back, then points at smoke coming out of the wall. Selina says, It's the sedative gas from the security pods. They're pumping it in." We switch to the control center, and we see these different guards. They're inside, and they say, "Oh, sir, you're back. The Gotham network has informed us about a problem with a local substation. They'll route power to the hardline from the eastern grid ASAP. Do you want me to inform Whiteport the delay, Captain?" But it's not actually the captain. It's Bruce and Talia al Ghul. Talia kicks one of the guards in the face, while Bruce grabs two of the guards' heads and slams them to the ground. Talia says, "Okay, I want a short window here, Bruce. No time for your idealism. I got the resistance way on the other side of the tunnel, hoping that I was right about you still being alive." Now, Bruce responds, "I don't care who's waiting or how long we got, Talia. No killing." Now, Talia responds, "Fine. Naive as ever, Bruce Wayne." Now, Talia and Bruce continue to just dismantle all these different guards. And Talia says, "But you do well to remember you almost died. You're the only one still playing by the rules." So Talia is saying, you're playing by the rules, but it caused you to almost die. Where us, like Talia, Catwoman, they don't play by the rules. And they're still alive. So Bruce's way might not be the right way. Now, continuing, Talia goes over to the computer system. She says, "If we can find the central security mechanism, we can unlock the doors at the front. With a train moving at this speed, we should be able to jump out." Bruce responds, "I thought there'd be more guards." Talia says, "There are. They're dealing with a disturbance farther down the train and we'll be back in a second. We shouldn't linger." There it is. Okay, I've unlocked the first two doors. We should get moving. But that's when Bruce looks at the security cameras and sees Catwoman hurting. He looks. He needs to go down there and save her. We switch to Catwoman and Onomatopoeia with their mask on. There's smoke in there. Catwoman says, "Leo." Leo calls in. He says, "I'm looking at the schematics, and those high-set coaches are made of half-inch thick steel. The doors have heavy-duty mag locks on them. I mean, unless you're carrying a stick of dynamite for an old-school train robbery, we might be out of luck." Selina responds, "My suit, Leo. Does it still have power?" Leo responds, "Yes," but Selina cuts him off, saying, I'm going to place my hands on the door. If you overload the magnets in my hands with everything we got." Leo smiles and says, "It will cause an electromagnetic shockwave." "That's brilliant." But Selina, it's likely to do just as much damage to your hands. Selena says, do it. It's what he would have done. Leo says, are you sure there isn't? Selena says, do it. Onomatopoeia then says, boom. We hear a loud boom as the whole door just explodes and these guards are sent back. The captain looks back. Selena and Onomatopoeia fall to the ground. Onomatopoeia says, slam. And Selena, she tries getting up. Now all the guards, they look up and they are afraid of Selena. Selena gets out her whip, she hits them across the face. She starts scratching all the different guards and cutting their faces. She goes to attack the captain, but the guards get up and grab her, puts her hands behind her back and pulls her to the ground. The captain steps in front of Selena saying, you really should learn to recognize when you are beaten. You've made a nuisance of yourself, you know? Now everyone will have to be punished for your insolence. Things might have gone so much better if you just lay down, breathe in deep, and close your eyes. Look at you, all bloody and beaten, that pretty face all scratched up and claws all blunted. Was it worth it? The captain grits his teeth and puts a gun to Selena's hands. He says, well, any last words? Selena says, yeah. Batman lives. We see Bruce behind the captain. He jumps up and stabs the captain in the back. Now, Selena gets up, and that's when Onomatopoeia shows up and shoots the guards in the head. He says, blam! Now, Selena kicks the guards back. Selena gets up right beside Onomatopoeia, Bruce, and Talia. Selena looks at Bruce saying, Bruce? Bruce then looks at her and says, looks like bats have more than one life too. Selena slaps Bruce, and then they kiss. Bruce says, you're hurt. Selena responds, yeah, well, you're dead. Now, Talia says, and if we don't get out of here before this train comes out of the tunnel, we really will be. Now, Selena goes close to Bruce and says, you really ought to rethink your +1 if you're going to crash my party like this. Now, Bruce says, you're not doing so great yourself, looking at Onomatopoeia. Now, Selena looks up and says, how'd you? And Bruce says, I was shot, almost drowned and lived through a butcher stitching me up. Selena says, power's back. So the power's back in the train, and the Magistrate are coming. The captain says, ugh, you know what that means, don't you? You celebrated too early. I've already signaled for our peacekeeper and the failsafe on the train's been activated. There'll be no escape. Now, Leo calls in and says, he's not kidding, Cat. I'm detecting a radio alert going out from the train. Talia says, and there's probably a series of charges on each coach linked via a hardline. We need to get off this train now, Bruce. Bruce responds, what's your exit strategy, Cats? Now, Selena says, the Gotham Ghost Rail. We found the old subway tunnels under Alleytown, a forgotten network linking right up to the Irontown Tunnel. Leo restored an old rail engine. We've been clearing tunnels and relay track ever since the Magistrate moved in. We'll link the coaches with the kids to the restored engine, slip away under the tunnel. The kids are in the rear coaches. We can detach them from the rest of the train. Bruce says, it'll break the hardline to the explosives and we can get them away to safety. Talia says, Bruce, the resistance needs you. Bruce responds, I remember why I'm here, Talia. Now, Catwoman goes over to all the strays. They're excited to see her. They're happy she's fine. Now, she says, everyone inside, all the way to the back, go. Now, Bruce closes the doors and says, there it is. The emergency uncoupling mechanism. Selena responds, you're not coming with me, are you? Bruce says, they're all going to come after me, Cats. If I go with you, they'll be rain the whole time. This way, they'll think I engineered the escape. I'll make sure of it. No one's going to miss 2 coaches when the Batman blows up the train. Now, Selena gets on the other side of the coach, saying, and you? Where will you go? Bruce responds, Talia has the resistance waiting by a service channel at the other end of the Irontown Tunnel. We'll run the train up to speed and jump off. Selena says, when this is done, Bats, how will I find you? Bruce says, just steal something important, Cats. Now, Bruce leaves. Selena and Bruce are separated once again. Now, we see Selena, she's getting away with the strays. They make it out, they celebrate, Bruce makes it away, and it's overall a good heist. We see the train, it blows up, yeah, crack, 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 doom! And the train drivers say, there's nothing left of the train, sir. Most of the guards seem to have jumped and made it out alive. Part of the train is still trapped in the tunnel. We'll have a better idea once we clear the collapse. But we found something by the mouth of the tunnel that we think you should see. We see that the captain is strapped to this one sign. It says, Batman lives. Now, Peacekeeper 01 was calling in, so he got all this information, all this info about the heist, and how Bruce got away, and that Batman is coming back. And that's how we end Future State's Catwoman. We open in the year 2025. Gotham City is ruled by magistrates who has released their forces known as the Peacemakers upon the city. We see Harley Quinn ambush a group of peacemakers. She says, "Batter up." Harley Quinn takes down a bunch of Peacemaker soldiers. She starts to leave, but that's when two huge robot Peacemakers show up. Harley tries to fight, but eventually surrenders. We shift to Harley in prison. She is in a chair. She's bound to the ground by chains. That's when Jonathan Crane walks into Harley's cell. He begins to taunt Harley, then introduces himself. Jonathan tells Harley that the Magistrate coming to Gotham is the best thing that's happened. No more masks, no more Batman. He senses Harley's lost and scared. Jonathan Crane continues to say he gave up being Scarecrow to cleanse Gotham City. He kneels by Harley and tells her, "I don't need a mask to make Gotham a better place. You don't need to hide anymore. So tell me, Harley, let me in. What is that frightens you?" Harley responds, "I'm scared that this monologue will never end." Now, Harley laughs at Crane and taunts him. Crane will still give her a chance, even if she refuses now. Crane walks to her screen. Crane tells Harley about Professor Pig, a villain at large in Gotham. The Magistrate hasn't taken him down yet. Many of the Peacekeepers have been killed and turned into dolls. Harley tries to get out of her chains, but she is unable to. Crane offers Harley a deal. Catch Professor Pig, and her stay in prison will be more enjoyable. Harley refuses and taunts Crane even more. Crane gives up and begins to walk away. But Harley then says, "I want my restraints off. Do that, and I'll tell you how to catch Professor Pig." Harley knows how Pig works. Crane agrees to Harley's deal. Harley tells Crane that Pig has a traumatic childhood. Recreate that on television and Pig will become frustrated. He'll go from being organized to desperate. Pig will go to Crane and the Peacekeepers to attack. So this time, Crane has an advantage. They aren't going to Pig. He's coming to them. Crane puts Harley's plan to work, and it's actually successful. Crane is surprised. Crane shows Pig's mask. He's captured by the Peacekeepers and the Magistrate now. Crane honors his deal with Harley and removes her restraints. Harley's happy to be free. Harley gives new terms. If Crane gives her costume back, she'll go out to the Magistrate's next target. Crane gives Harley her next target. Her next target is Garfield Lynn, aka Firefly. He's caused millions in property damage. Crane has tried to catch him, but he's continued to fail. Harley has a plan to stop Firefly. She's gonna use his childhood against him. Give him something he can't resist, say on fire. Harley goes off to target Firefly. We shift to Firefly attacking some Peacekeepers. He's out in the open now. The Peacekeepers stall, and Harley attacks. Harley takes down Firefly and turns him over to Crane. Crane is making progress in taking down Gotham's villains. Black Mask is mentioned. Crane flips out. That's the one man Crane has failed to catch countless of times. The Peacekeepers figure out that Crane used to be a Scarecrow. Crane then visits Harley at her new cell. Crane gives Harley her biggest target yet. Black Mask. That's when we shift to this robber wearing a black mask. He's robbing a store and taking too long. That's when he is hit back by the store entrance door. The real Black Mask walks in. Black Mask is disgraced by what this robber is doing with his mask on. Black Mask says, That mask is power. The robber responds. Oh, Roman, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Black Mask then kills the robber and stands over his dead body. Black Mask concludes with, don't ever forget why we wear the mask. We see Senator Hansen at a restaurant eating his pork chops. He says, the chops are excellent tonight. My compliments to the chef. Now, as I was saying, we were able to catch that heinous Professor Pig. Thanks, of course, to my task force that ended his reign of terror. Pig. Disgusting creature. Now, your generous donations, I can assure... Sorry, I can't... Help me. Please. What is... Now, out of the shadows comes Black Mask. He says, calm down. The acetylcholine in your food wasn't a lethal dose. The paralysis you're experiencing is only temporary, Senator Hansen. Now, Senator Hansen can't talk anymore. He's just sitting down, he can't move. And Black Mask puts his hand on the senator's shoulders and says, I assure you, I would not kill you with poison. No, your death will be far more painful. It seems someone's been a very naughty boy with Daddy's wallet, Now, that's when Senator Hansen says, I was gonna pay you back, Black Mask. Now, Black Mask puts a knife to the senator's face and says, I'm not here about my money. I'm here about what you did with my money. Allow me to regale you. Tell me, are you familiar with the myth of Dolos in the statue? Dolos is the Greek god of trickery and deception. He tried to create a fake statue of the goddess of truth, Aletheia, to trick viewers into thinking they were seeing the real thing. But he ran out of clay. If it weren't for the unfinished feats, Dolos would have gotten away with his deception. The lesson, Hansen, is you make sure you have enough clay before you create a fraudulent account that funnels my money straight to the magistrates. Now, we see Hansen, he drops his glass of wine. He dies. Now, we go to the next day, and we see Harley Quinn and Jonathan Crane. They show up to investigate what happened. They see the senator dead, and Harley Quinn immediately puts on the mask, a Black Mask, and she says, how do I look? And Jonathan Crane responds, take that off. You're contaminating evidence, Harley. Harley takes it off and says, way to take all the fun out of crime scene, Crane. And Crane responds, you're not here for fun. You're here to tell me how to catch Sionis. Now, Harley looks down at the evidence and says, I'm guessing that's not the kind of facelift the senator was hoping for. You know, you can make this real easy on yourself, Crane. Sorry, Freudian slip. Which, in case you don't know, is when someone vocalizes their subconscious feelings, and now Crane cuts her off and says, I know what it means, Harley. Tell me how you think finding Roman is easy. Now, Harley stands up. She says, so, try to keep up here. A guy who runs around in a mask shaped like a skull isn't afraid of the average Joe. Not that his name is actually Joe. It could be Brad or Ralph or maybe John. Joe's just a hypothetical, okay? And Roman's not afraid of him, but he might be afraid of another guy in a mask. Now, Crane says, what are you talking about? Now, Harley says, let's phone a friend. Mr. Senator, care to assist the struggling contestant. It rhymes with scarecrow. Good work. This guy is anything but dead weight. So Harley notices that the senator is not really gonna help. But that's when Crane says, I'm not wearing a mask, especially not that mask. Now, if you can't help me catch Black Mask, then... Now Harley sits down on her knees and says, Alright, jeez. Can't touch that evidence. Can't play with the corpse. Can't wear the creepy scarecrow mask. And dose anyone with fear toxin. You're a dud, Crane. But here's your answer. She picks up the Black Mask and says, I know you're all anti-mask now, but this is your ticket to Roman. If Roman's mass manufacturing these suckers for his crones, why not go to the source? You see, there was a place out on the west side, back when it was just me and Mr. J. We was going through a lot of clown masks back then. You'd be shocked how much those things can cost, Crane. As Grandma Quinzel used to say, if you're not getting your clown mask wholesale, you're wasting your money. I think it was a Russian proverb or something, which is weird because I'm not even Russian. Anyways, if Roman's getting his mask in bulk, there's only one place in Gotham that's supplying it. Now, what we see, guys, is we see some of the forces of Jonathan Crane. They go into a warehouse, and they find a Sentry, right? Which is one of the robots of the Magistrate working with Jonathan Crane. But it goes against the different forces, the different peacekeepers. Well, I wouldn't say peacekeepers, just officers, you know? And they get destroyed. You hear noise on the other side. Jonathan Crane immediately, or we'll just say Crane, guys. Crane immediately hears it. He says no. He runs, and an officer comes out. Crane asks, "What happened?" And the officer responds, "Sentry, it turned on us." Now Harley comes by with an umbrella over her head, and she says, "I tried to tell you that going in without any," but that's when Crane shouts, "You! This is your fault, Quinn!" He stands up and begins to choke Harley. He says, "I trusted you to help find Roman, and what do I get?" Now Harley shouts, "Hey!" And Crane responds, "More dead man. I should have killed you when I had the chance to." But that's when a hologram on the Sentry comes out of the warehouse. This hologram is Black Mask. He says, "Jonathan Crane, I hear you're done with the Boogeyman Act. It's such a shame." Crane looks back. He says, "What?" And Black Mask looks and sees Harley and Crane close to each other. You can say that. And Black Mask says, "Following the mask to the warehouse was a clever move, Jonathan. Though credit where credit is due. I believe that particular idea was the brainchild of Harley Quinn, no? The Scarecrow partnered with the Joker's girlfriend. Quite the pair you two make." Now, Crane looks up and says, "How?" And Black Mask says, "If you're now asking yourself how I could have been so many steps ahead of you, Crane, you're missing the point. This city once belonged to me. I will take it back. The Magistrate, the Sentries, the Mercenaries, and the Peacekeepers. You and Harley Quinn, I will kill you all." Now, after this whole incident, we see Crane. He goes back to his bunker, right? And he's looking at the Scarecrow mask. Now, this is super interesting, guys, because what happened was he was talking to Harley, and Harley's like, the only way to beat Black Mask is if he is actually scared of something. If Black Mask is scared of someone, then he'll be weak, and they can take him down. Because right now, he feels like he's the top dog, right? Now, if Crane puts back on the mask and puts fear into Black Mask, they can defeat him. But Crane's not going to step over that line, or will he? This part, that's what we get, alright? We see Crane. He looks at the Scarecrow mask. He says, "No, I can't. A mask is afraid of a mask." Now, an officer comes in. He says, "Sir, we've tracked Sionis down to the docks." And Crane says, "Get out." Now, the officer looks and sees the Scarecrow mask and says, "What are you doing with that?" And Crane throws a glass of coffee at the wall, frightening the officer a little bit. He says, "Get out." Now, he looks. He starts throwing everything at the ground. Papers, mask, just all sorts of stuff that he's supposed to fill out, you know, because he's under the Magistrate. But he says, "Black Mask, Harley Quinn, the Magistrate." He looks down. He says, "I've done everything Harley said. Now, we end this my way." So, Ski is now Scarecrow, guys. Jonathan Crane is back to being Scarecrow, and things begin to pop off from here. We shift to the Gotham docks, and we see Harley. She gets back her bat, right, and she's just knocking down stuff, causing property damage. Like, she's just, like, wrecking stuff, you know, as Harley Quinn would do. And she shouts, "Oh, Roman, come out, wherever you are." She starts to walk. Now, she sees in a window, Black Mask, Roman Sionis, right behind her. And that's when she looks back. She says, "Huh?" She goes to swing, but Black Mask catches her bat, and he says, "Manners, Quinn. I just had this suit pressed, and your blood is hardly worth a dry clean bill. Where's Crane? Surely you're not out here all by your lonesome." Now Harley says, "I escaped, and I'm really pledged to your little sorority. Do I get the mask directly from you, or is there some kind of mail away promotion?" Now, Black Mask is not by this. He's not by that Harley escaped, now she wants to join his clan, right? Not his clan, but like his group, you know? Like his gang. You guys know what I mean. Just join his whole entire, like, operation. So Black Mask is like, "Yeah, cut the crap. Like, I know what you're doing. You don't actually want to be on my team. You're just like bait, right?" Harley's actually bait. And Harley responds with, "Okay, if I'm bait, you still came." And Black Mask then says, "Why should I hide from Jonathan Crane? I'm right here, Crane. Come and get me." Now, Scarecrow in the distance says, Roman. And Black Mask responds, Crane? Scarecrow continues, do you remember how it felt to be alone in the dark as a child? Every bump or creak, every shadow dancing across your wall. And Black Mask looks up. He's surrounded by his guys. Like, he's surrounded by a lot of his team. And he says, where are you? Face me, Crane. And that's when Black Mask's forces begin to get hit by the fear toxin. And one guy begins to scratch himself. He says, ugh, they're under my skin, I feel them. So, the fear begins to take over Black Mask's forces. So now it's just Black Mask versus Crane. Just one-on-one. And yet there's Harley on the side, but she's not really doing much. But Scarecrow continues. The mind truly can concoct the most awful terrors. Can it? When you are alone in the darkness, Roman, what terrors do you see? Guys, you see this amazing splash image of Scarecrow in, I wouldn't say a futuristic outfit, but it's a new design. It looks pretty dope, and it looks so cool. Fear Toxin behind him, guys falling down behind him, Black Mask's forces are down, Scarecrow is like full back to like just terror mode, guys. Like, if I saw this in the street, I'd be like, man, I'm dead. I'd be freaked out. Now, Black Mask, I wouldn't say he's freaked out, but he's a little bit. He just saw all his guys just fall to the ground with fear. But Black Mask just looks up. He smiles and pulls out a gun. And Scarecrow says, the monsters in the darkness drive you, Roman. Now, Black Mask shoots his gun. He says, Crane. Damn it. He misses Crane because he tries to shoot, but all he sees is fear toxin. Now, obviously, the fear toxin hasn't gotten to Black Mask yet. Now, Scarecrow says, but if you're not careful, the monsters will consume you. Now, Black Mask throws his gun to the ground, pulls out a knife. He says, your gas won't work on me, Crane. And Scarecrow comes out of the shadows. He says, it's not the gas you should fear, Roman. My toxins will merely materialize. The nightmare's already in your... But that is when Scarecrow is knocked to the ground by Harley Quinn with her bat, alright? So she hits him to the ground, he falls down, and Black Mask looks up. He says, Harley? And Harley says, you know, my other broads run around Gotham beating up streaks with baseball bats. Seriously? Do you? I think we'd be friends. And Black Mask is surprised. He says, I know we haven't always seen eye to eye, but I appreciate your help. Now, that's when Black Mask continues. He says, Gotham is in worse shape than I could have imagined, with a magistrate and men like Crane. Now, Harley puts her bat toward Black Mask and holds Scarecrow by the head. She has a toothpick in her mouth. She says, I'm gonna stop you there. My quota on overly pretentious, condescending monologues has already been met for the foreseeable future. Now, she then hits Black Mask in the neck with her bats. And Black Mask then gets up. He says, don't do this, Harley. I could help you. So basically, Harley is hitting Black Mask's mask, and if it breaks through, and the fear toxin will get in, and it'll take over him. And you guys already know, Harley's got the plan going. She puts on the Scarecrow mask, she goes toward him, and says, can you help me find the release for the gas? Is there a switch, or, never mind, I got it. Now, that's when she breaks Black Mask's mask just a little bit. The fear toxin gets in. He says, they're coming, make it stop. So Black Mask is now falling to the ground. He's in fear, and Harley walks away with the Scarecrow mask on her face. Now, all the officers show up, and they pick up Crane. They say, we got a live one here. Can we get a medic? Now Crane gets up. He says, huh? Oh, well, where's Roman Sionis? And the officers respond, easy. He's right there. They point, and we see Black Mask. He's on a bed. He's done. Like the fear took over him. And he keeps saying, he's coming, don't let him get to me. And Jonathan Crane looks back. He says, and Harley? And the officers say, not here, sir. Now, Jonathan Crane, on his knees, says, Harley, did she did all this? Harley Quinn has ruined me. Now we see Harley. She makes an alleyway. She puts down the Scarecrow mask. She says, smells like bad seafood in this thing. You know, I never did like masks. She throws the Scarecrow mask back in the garbage and walks away. Now, heading into Future State's Red Hood, we see Jason Todd wake up in his bed next to a woman. Jason Todd pulls out his phone and gets a mask alerts. The vigilante is loose in Gotham City. Red Hood puts on his suit and drives off into the city of Gotham. Red Hood follows Vigilante on the road. Vigilante shoots back saying, "You're a damn traitor!" Vigilante tries to drive away from Red Hood, but Red Hood swings a sharp weapon in the air. He swings said sharp weapon at the tire of the Vigilante's motorcycle. Vigilante falls off his motorcycle and lands on the ground. Red Hood takes Vigilante to Peacekeeper 01. Peacekeeper 01 is impressed with Red Hood's skill. Peacekeeper 01 pulls off Vigilante's mask and says, "After Vigilante spends some time in Blackgate Max, I bet he sees our way of things. Join the Peacekeepers." Vigilante gets frustrated and spits on Red Hood's shoes. Peacekeepers escort Vigilante out of the room. Vigilante yells, "Batman lives!" Peacekeeper 01 glances at Red Hood and says, "Sorry, Red Hood. I wish more masks were like you." A body bag comes through the room. Another mask has been killed by Red Hood's partner. Peacekeeper 01 shows gratitude for Red Hood and his partner's work. Red Hood gets a mask alerts. The Red Hood gang have flipped a van on the Gotham streets. Red Hood starts walking to go after the Red Hood gang. Peacekeeper 01 says, "Heads up, Hood. This new Red Hood gang comes with a twist. They rob from the rich to give to the poor. His supply transport uptown." Happy hunting! Red Hood drives his motorcycle through Gotham City. Certain citizens call Red Hood a mass killer. Citizens of Gotham still think that Batman lives. Red Hood arrives at a bar. The men inside talk crap about him. Red Hood takes off his mask. One of the men at the bar says, "Hey, damn, you ugly." The three men go to stab and kill Jason Todd. Jason just gets a drink from the counter. He waits. His partner shows up and kills the men. His partner says, "You didn't wake me when you left this morning." Jason's partner is revealed to be Rose Wilson, aka Ravager. Rose and Jason are trying to compete on how many masks they can bring in to the magistrates. Rose goes to get a beer from the counter. She says to Jason, "How much you think the bet is on us right now?" Jason responds, "What do you mean?" Rose smiles and says, "The cops take bets on which of us will catch the most masks. You've heard them call us dead or alive, right? Because you bring the mask in alive, while I, she gives a thumbs up. Now she says to Jason, "We could ditch this dive and go on the roof for some quality time." Jason says, "I don't do rooftops anymore." Now, Rose gets a little frustrated. She's like, "Did you get banned by your kin?" And Jason looks away and says, "I stick to the streets." Rose says, "And now you hunt people with your gimmick? How come you never robbed from the rich to give to the poor? Is it because you would have had to steal from your daddy?" Jason says, "Batman wasn't my dad." Now, Rose gets a drink, and she says, "This is why we make sense. Daddy issues. Speaking of, mine says hi. He'll never admit, but he likes you. We could leave Gotham, go to his headquarters on Society Island for some R&R. It's our secret location." Jason still looks away and says, "Too much work to do to take a vacation." Now, Rose gets even more frustrated. She says, "Why are you even here, Jason? Why stay in Gotham knowing how bad things are here?" Jason looks at her in the face and says, "You know why." And Rose says, "So that's why you're staying at a bar." Jason stands up and says, "If you want to catch someone wearing a mask, you look for the person under the mask. That is why I came here. You see that line for the soup kitchen outside? It's long, too long. The people in the neighborhood know a shipment of food arrives." Now, Jason kneels down to the man that was beaten by Rose, and he says, "Every place in this hood is vandalized. Only this bar and the soup kitchen are pristine. That's a sign of respect." Rose stands up and says, "Then let's play." And Jason looks at his phone and says, "I work alone." And he starts walking away, puts on his mask again. And Rose puts out her hands and says, "Next time you need someone to dye your hair, lose my number. Go on, Jason, I'll pick up the tab." Again. Jason then goes to a soup kitchen next door. He heads toward the bathroom. He kicks down the door. He finds the Red Hood man trying to steal money. Red Hood tries to run away into an alley. Jason chases him saying, "I don't want to hurt you, stop." Red Hood shoots at Jason. Jason kicks Red Hood in the face. Jason dismantles Red Hood. Red Hood has no more weapons now, no more guns. He runs farther into the alley. Jason says, "Damn it, I can help you." Jason turns the corner and sees Rose. She gets out her sword and cuts the Red Hooded man in half. Jason's surprised to see Rose. Rose is happy that she killed the man. She now will have money to pay for dinner again. Jason and Rose argue about if it was right to kill this Red Hood man. It wasn't a man actually, it was a boy. The boy wanted to help people. Rose thinks if you go against the law, then you pay the price. Jason doesn't think the boy had much of a say in the matter. Jason finds Mad Hatter tech in the Red Hood helmets. The boy was controlled. Jason tells Rose to call her body baggers to clean up the mess. Jason gets on his motorcycle and heads after Mad Hatter. Rose knows where to find the Mad Hatter, so she joins Jason on the mission. Jason and Rose make it to the Mad Hatter's hideouts. No one is at the front entrance. Jason investigates what's going on. Rose mentions that she likes hanging with Jason. Maybe they should go miniature golfing sometime. Rose also tells Jason, "I don't like being used or played, so the Mad Hatter is going to pay." Jason and Rose look around the corner and find the Mad Hatter dead. Jason says, "Hold on." That's when he gets a mask alert, but this time his name is on it. Jason and Rose are shot. The Magistrate are going after Jason. Jason looks at the Mad Hatter's dead body. Rose, meanwhile, is curious as to why the Magistrate has a huge bounty on Jason's head. She pulls out her sword, saying, "Every merc in Gotham is going to be gunning for you now. I mean, wow. Just wow. A girl could retire with that kind of money, you know?" Rose goes to stab Jason, but he's already gone. He left the area when she was talking, so he basically pulled a Batman. Now, Rose smiles and says, "Oh, foreplay." We switch to Jason driving a motorcycle on the road at fast speed. He calls Magistrate headquarters. He asks them why there's a mask alert sent out for him. The Magistrate headquarters responds saying it must be an error. They'll flag it, but it'll take a few days to clear it up. The Magistrate tells Jason to go to a station nearby. They'll help him out. Now, Jason refuses and then asks, "Are you tracking this call?" That's when drones show up out of nowhere and cause a huge explosion in front of Jason. You're allowed. Boom! Jason uses a chain to fight back against the Magistrate drones. The drones overwhelm Jason, and he barely gets away into an alley. His Red Hood helmet is left behind. Peacekeepers arrive. They smash the helmets. Now, the Peacekeepers search the perimeter for Jason. The drones do too. The Magistrate want to know who made the Red Hood helmets. Jason makes it to a rooftop and grits his teeth with agony in his eyes. He cleans his wound up with futuristic tech. Jason sits down and looks at the Gotham City view. He pulls out the old Red Hood helmets. Jason says, "So, they're after you, huh? Come find me, Rose." Jason puts on the helmet and takes off running across rooftops. Jason makes it past some officers and into a tall building. He meets up with the White Rabbit. She immediately notices that Jason is wearing the helmet, not one for men. Now, White Rabbit explains that she was getting bored working for the Mad Hatter. She set up a scheme to get rid of him. Then she used his mind-controlling device to control people into wearing masks. The White Rabbit gets close to Jason and takes control of him, mind controls him. That's when Rose shows up out of nowhere with a sword to White Rabbit's back. The White Rabbit tries making a deal. She gets the Red Hood helmet while Rose gets the bounty on Jason. Rose doesn't take the deal. She'd rather kill Jason than the White Rabbit. The White Rabbit orders Jason to kill Rose. Rose gets her sword ready while Jason attacks with a swinging ball and axe. After multiple hits back and forth, Rose gets the upper hand. She slices through the Red Hood helmets. By doing this, Jason snaps back into control. He looks at Rose and says, "Knew you'd find me." Rose responds, You're lucky I have a crush on you. That's when the White Rabbit's guards begin to pull Rose back. Jason asks the White Rabbit who she's working for. She doesn't answer. She just gives Jason more subtle clues, then tries getting away. But then the Magistrate drones show up and shoot rapidly. Jason hides behind a wall to not get shot. Rose uses a man's body as a shield. Jason asks Rose what the future is showing her. She can't see. Jason then runs out into the crossfire and saves Rose from getting shot. Jason swings his axe and it latches onto a drone. Jason and Rose swing out of the building. You hear a loud boom as the building explodes behind him. Jason and Rose land on a rooftop. A bunch of drones surround them. Rose then puts her sword to Jason's neck. Jason is confused. Rose says, "My name is Mask Hunter Ravager, and I'm claiming the bounty on Jason Todd, and I'm bringing him in alive." The drones then leave. Jason then looks at Rose. He now knows that she just saved him. Now he says to her, "Let's go to your dad's secret island. I can use some sun." We fast forward to Jason talking with Peacekeeper 03. Peacekeeper 03 applauds both Jason and Rose for bringing in the White Rabbit. She's been a target for the Magistrate for a while. Peacekeeper 03 then says, "Happy hunting." Jason replies the same and walks up to his red motorcycle. In the shadows, Batman stands and asks Jason if he succeeded. Jason replies yes. Jason managed to steal evidence that connects the White Rabbit to the Magistrate. Batman's gonna try and link this information to the Magistrate's main funder. Find out who's funding everything that the Magistrate is doing. Jason puts on his Red Hood mask. He wants to leave Gotham. Batman reminds him that he has to stay in Gotham until the Magistrate are done. Jason then asks Batman, "Ravager, can you get her out of Gotham?" Batman responds, "I'll see what I can do." Jason rides off on his red motorcycle saying, "I bet you will. The sun is out. You better get to bed." Jason drives off into the distance. And that's how he ends Future State's Red Hood. We shift to Cold Cash in a bar. A gun is pointed directly at his head. A man with a skull mask named Christoph threatens to blow his brains out. Cole looks at his cards. Christoph thinks Cole cheated in their game. Now, Christoph says, "You're a damn cheat. Admit it. You got something up your sleeve." Cole hits the gun up and grabs a knife. Cole slams the knife into Christoph's hands. Christoph falls to the ground. Cole responds, "That's the thing. I always have something up my sleeve." Cold Cash defeats Christoph and then takes Christoph's money. He won the game now. Everyone in the bar stares. Cole says, "Don't act like you've never seen anyone get stabbed before." But it wasn't Cole the people were staring at. It was the GCPD. They've arrived, and they want a word with Cold Cash. Cole tries to avoid talking with the GCPD. That's when a female police officer comes by. She says, "We know who you are, Cold Cash." Every criminal in the bar stands up and gives Cole a deadly look, a deadly stare. Cold Cash is Grifter. Grifter killed people that are close to every criminal in this bar. They want revenge. They slowly surround Cole. Cole picks up his drink and says, "Everyone calm down. I can explain." Not really. He slams the drink into a man's face, knocking him out. Now Cole tries to fight back. A huge fight begins, but then he's thrown through a window outside into the streets. He makes it out of the bar. He gets surrounded by peacekeepers. Now Cole tries to make a run for it. He is hit by a car and falls to the ground. A gun is aimed directly at his head again. Cole is now surrounded by peacekeepers and GCPD. He's defeated for now. Cole is put into a van with another man. This other man is Luke Fox. Luke Fox tells Cole that these peacekeepers are not good. They're just trying to remove Mask out of Gotham. The Magistrates wants Batwing and Grifter. Luke wants to get out of the van. He tries to convince Cole to join him. Luke mentions how Grifter used to work for his father, Lucius Fox. Cole tells Luke not to bring up that name. Luke continues, but then Cole kicks him in the face. The peacekeepers hear a thunk. They check on the two inmates. Cole tells the peacekeepers that Luke is hurt. He needs help. The peacekeepers go to examine, but then Cole catches the guard and a choke with his legs. The peacekeeper tries to shoot. Cole dodges and maneuvers the van to get flipped upside down. The van lands. Luke tries to wake up. The guards are knocked out. Cole begins to get out. One of the peacekeepers show up and go to kill Cole. Luke finally wakes up and points a gun at the peacekeeper. Luke hates Cole, but they need to survive. Luke tells the peacekeeper to lower his weapon. Once the officer does, Cole gets up and shoots the officer in the leg. Cole doesn't kill the officer, he just severely injures him. Luke is mad that Cole shot the officer. Cole and Luke walk it off. Luke thinks Cole owes his father, therefore owing the entire Fox family. Luke offers Cole $50,000 to help him get out of Gotham City. Cole and Luke go to Cole's apartments. Luke thinks it's a safe house at first. Not a very nice one at that. Cole gets out a huge gun and points it at Luke. Cole wants the truth. Luke says he's telling the truth. Luke hands over a check of $50,000. Luke's gonna join the mission. Cole gives Luke a mask. Luke asks Cole if he'll be need a mask. Cole doesn't really need a mask. He already got one. He puts on his Grifter mask and he's ready to go on the mission. Luke and Grifter go out to face off against crime. They come upon the Black Mask Syndicate. Grifter knows the female leader. Luke tries to de-escalate the situation between highly leveled fighters. The criminals go against Luke. They're not going with this plan. Now, Luke tries to run. Grifter punches one of the gang members in the face and tells Luke to run fast. That's when we see Grifter and Luke going through hallways and are attacked by Black Mask Syndicate gang members at all sides. Grifter shoots many times to get past. His accuracy is on point. Grifter and Luke team up to take down the enemies. Luke asks Grifter for a strategy. Grifter keeps shooting and waits. They wait behind a car. They take cover. The gang throws a grenade. Grifter covers Luke. You hear a boom! Grifter looks up and sees the gang killed themselves by throwing that grenade. A strategy wasn't needed. The Magistrate tanks follow Grifter and Luke. They eventually get away. Grifter takes Luke to the home of one of the last and best criminals in Gotham City, Huntress. Luke doesn't know if this is a good idea. Huntress is above both of them. She hangs with her crossbow ready to fire. Grifter takes off his mask. Luke does the same. Now, Grifter begins to smoke and he tells Luke, "Might want to throw that hood back on, Fox. The Huntress is not someone you want mad at you." Grifter is kicked in the face by Huntress. Luke Fox steps back, curious as to why Huntress would be mad at Cole Cash. Luke goes to stop Huntress from beating up Grifter. Huntress points her crossbow at Luke. He stays out of it. Grifter asks if they can talk about what happened. Huntress punches him in the face, saying, "This is us talking." Grifter escalates the fight on accident. He literally says, "Hey, I don't want to fight," and then he accidentally punches her. Luke is actually the one to stop the fight for good. He shows Huntress that he isn't a cop to gain some trust from her. Luke asks Huntress to help him get out of Gotham. He doesn't want to be where the Magistrate are. Luke gives Huntress $75,000. She agrees to get him out of Gotham. Grifter wants to ask some questions. Huntress points a crossbow at Grifter, saying, "Shut up." Grifter responds, "Get that out of my face, Helena." Huntress says, "Were you followed?" People wait outside. Grifter responds, "No, maybe someone just walking by." That's when a bomb is thrown through the window. Magistrate forces wait outside for a peacekeeper. Another police force walk in to catch Huntress. They figure out that her, Grifter, and Luke have fled. The entire building explodes. Huntress rides her motorcycle with Grifter and Luke on it out of the building just in time. The Magistrate begin to follow the three on the road. Huntress drives as fast as she can. Grifter gets out his gun. An entire Magistrate ship shoots at the Huntress. Grifter takes out another gun. He has 2 guns in his hands. Huntress loses the Magistrate forces for a second. Grifter and Huntress bicker while Luke just sits frightened in like a little seat in the motorcycle. Grifter shoots a gasoline tank, causing multiple buildings to explode around them and behind them as well. Now the Magistrate's ship catches on fire and crashes in the streets. The group begins to drive away. Huntress knows a place they can go. The 3 arrive in a warehouse. Grifter wants Huntress to speed up Luke's exit out of Gotham. That's when Grifter is electrocuted by Vile. He falls to the ground. Vile doesn't like Grifter at all. She wants him dead. After tensions rise between Vile and Huntress, Vile decides to help Luke, but then she gets to do whatever she wants to Grifter afterward. Grifter pays interest money to help Luke. We go at 30 minutes later. Grifter and Luke are on Vile's boat, sailing out of Gotham. Luke thanks Grifter for helping. He appreciates the support. Grifter explains he's just paying his debts he owes the Fox family. He just wants to get Luke back to his father, Lucius. Luke and Grifter's conversation is cut off by the announcement that the boat has arrived out of Gotham. Huntress shows Luke the submarine he'll be taking to get to his father. Lucius created the submarine. Huntress fulfilled her duty. But that's when a boat nearby is destroyed by a Magistrate ship. Luke says, "I'm sorry, Helena." Huntress shouts, "Traitor!" Huntress is hit in the back by a peacekeeper. Grifter tells Luke to call the Magistrate army off. Luke says, "It's too late for that call." The Magistrate forces descend upon the docks. Grifter asks, "You sold me out? Why?" Luke responds, "It's a job, Cole. Not personal." Luke attacks Grifter and kicks him to the ground. Luke tells Grifter to get on the submarine and never come back to Gotham. The Magistrate isn't here for Grifter. They're here for Huntress. Luke puts out his hand. Grifter kicks Luke back and escapes into the submarine. Grifter thinks about abandoning Huntress for a second, but then he goes back. Huntress is about to be taken in by Peacekeeper 08 and the Magistrate. But then Grifter shows up and shoots at the Peacekeeper and the Magistrate forces. Grifter gets knocked to the ground right beside Huntress. Huntress says, "I don't think we can beat him." Grifter responds, "Yeah, I'm getting to that." Peacekeeper 08 goes to attack. Grifter torches the Peacekeeper on fire and causes multiple explosions around the docks. The Magistrate are distracted by the explosions. Grifter gives Huntress his last remaining money. He puts her in the submarine and tells her to help more people. Huntress escapes. Grifter goes back to attack the Magistrate, but he's immediately decked by the burning Peacekeeper 08. The Magistrate surround Luke and Grifter. Luke grits his teeth above Grifter and says, "They were letting me go in exchange for her. What were you thinking, Cole? I let you walk. We were free. And this is how you repay me? You're going on Blackgate for a long damn time." Cole's Grifter mask is removed and he's pushed to the ground. Peacekeeper 08 puts his foot on Cole's face. And Cole just simply smiles. And that's how he ends Future State's Grifter. See Katana, she's flying through the streets of Gotham. Duke Thomas, aka the Signal, drives on the road at a fast speed. The Peacekeepers are chasing them. Duke flies the car off a ramp. He supposedly has criminals, aka hostages, inside. Katana flies down the streets. Yo, whoom, as she lands. She says, "If any part you cross the line, your soul is mine." The Peacekeepers begin to shoot and Katana blocks every single bullet with her soul sword. She's literally standing in place blocking these bullets. She attacks the Peacekeepers and takes them all down. Katana and Duke have saved the criminals. Duke gets out of the car. They landed on a bridge. Duke welcomes the criminals to the outside. Duke thanks Katana for the help. She tells him he costed her time and fuel. Something bad is going down in Gotham tonight. It involves the Magistrate. Katana says, "None of us are safe." She flies off. The criminals ask Duke, "What was that all about, man?" Duke responds, "It's a long story." Katana flies through the sky and tells her sword, Masio, that she'll be careful. Now, that sword's name is obviously the name of her husband. She crashes in front of a big military site. Katana breaks in, takes down a bunch of soldiers. She walks in a room with caliber in it. She just cuts down all these soldiers, guys. It's actually a really dope scene, and she confronts Caliber. Now, he has joined the Magistrate. He's against Katana. Caliber blasts Katana back. She gets up ready. They begin to fight. Yurakathom as Caliber attacks. Caliber begins to get the upper hand. Caliber begins to taunt Katana and remembers that Katana is speaking to her sword because her husband is in there. Katana proceeds to jump and stab the sword into Caliber's chest. Katana lands on the ground. The Peacekeepers shoot at her. She dodges. But that's when Caliber takes the sword out of his chest and knocks Katana out with a backhanded punch. He stands over her. But that's when a black and blue lightning appears above. Yeah, crack, crack. The lightning begins to attack and win. Caliber and his forces retreat. The lightning returns to the ground. Katana gets up. Katana gets her sword, ready to fight. She realizes that this lightning, it's Jefferson Pierce. She says, "What happened to you?" Katana goes to attack, but Black Lightning grabs her sword and puts it to the ground. Black Lightning stands over Katana. Katana realizes he's been cursed. Jefferson tells her that isn't important right now. What is important is that there's a spy with Duke. Duke Thomas, the Signal, gives hope to the fugitives on the outside. He thinks they can all overcome the Magistrates. He's lost a lot in Gotham, but he won't give up. Now we shift to the Katana's Keep, also on the outside of Gotham. Jefferson Pierce, aka Black Lightning, waits behind Tatsu in the shadows. Tatsu asks Jefferson, "What happened to you?" Jefferson responds, "It was a long story. I was trying to do the right thing, but everything went wrong. There was magic involved, a curse. But I'll figure it all out after we find Duke and make sure he's okay." Now, Jefferson, he smiles, alright? And Tatsu, she asks Jefferson what he saw on the outside. How is Duke in trouble? Now, Jefferson tells Tatsu that there's a magistrate force spying on Duke. Somebody with Duke at this current moment is a part of the magistrate and trying to hurt Duke. Now, that's not the only reason that Jefferson came to Tatsu. He's also worried about Tatsu. Now, Tatsu then says, "You sound like Duke. He's turned himself into some kind of political figurehead." So, basically, like Duke, he's turned into like a leader, he's helping out people on the outside, but he also worries about Katana, or Tatsu. Not the same way that Jefferson does. Like, Jefferson is really worrying about Tatsu. Now, Jefferson smiles, he's happy that Duke is in a good place. He says, "Oh yeah, good for him." Now, we shift when we see Duke. He's really made his responsibility to protect the innocent people from the magistrates. This means moving them around, of course, alright? Like, the people on the outside cannot stay in the same place, because the magistrate are going after him. Now, we see Duke, he gives the three fugitives, he saved all info they need to keep surviving. They will meet a guy named Bennett in the morning, who will basically give them permanent solutions. Duke leaves the building and jumps onto a nearby rooftop. He calls on Katana. He thinks something is wrong. One of the three fugitives he rescued are part of the magistrates. They are spying on them. Now Katana tells Duke that Jefferson is with her, and he thinks that something is off as well. Now Duke is happy to hear Jefferson's there. Duke tells Katana, "Tell him I said hey, and give him a big hug for me." Now, I just tagged all three of the fugitives with nanotech tracers, so we'll know who is the traitor. That's when Duke notices that one of the fugitives has already left the building. But before Duke can tell Katana, he's ambushed by the same fugitive. This fugitive is actually a robot under the magistrate. A robot disguised as a human, right? Now, this robot goes to give away the coordinates to the outside, but Duke hits him with an electric device, destroying the robot's virtual connection to the magistrates. The only way the robot will be getting a message to the magistrate now is by foot. Duke knocks the magistrate robot off the rooftop of a building. Duke gets down the building and makes it onto his motorcycle. He calls in Katana and Black Lightning for help. Duke thinks that the Magistrate spy will be at the bridge with possibly more forces. Well, like, for sure more forces. Now, Duke needs his friend's help. Tatsu tells Jefferson. Jefferson then transfers his power into a lightning sword. Now, Katana has her soul sword and a lightning sword. They combine. Black Lightning's power is now in the soul sword. It's like the ultimate weapon. Now, Katana rocking with the sword of her dead lover and basically the power of her current friend, or more like lover as well. Come on, like, we know Jefferson was making some moves on Tatsu during Brian Hill's Batman the Outsiders run. Like, they fit so well together. Like, Jefferson and Tatsu, like, we gotta see a comic just about them, like, fighting crime. Like, that'd be really cool. But moving on, what we see is Katana, she meets up with Duke at the bridge. The Magistrate spy tries to run away. That's when a huge blast of green energy is released. Duke and Katana move just in time. Then, from the other side of the bridge, comes Caliber. Caliber is decked out with all kinds of military explosives. He has a tank. Duke and Katana are ready to fight. Caliber tells the spy Colin to get out of the situation. Colin makes it over to Caliber and he needs help. His legs are busted. Caliber has a solution. He blasts and destroys Colin on the spot. If that ain't a double cross, I don't know what is. Now, forces of the outside go to attack Caliber. They ain't doing so good. Katana tells Duke, help him. Then wipe that cyborg systems. Jefferson, help me. Jefferson responds, I'm here. That's when Katana uses the might of Black Lightning, the soul sword, to cut Caliber's big military tank that he arrived in half. Like, this is wild, guys. Katana going beast mode on Caliber. Caliber ain't ready at all, right? A big explosion erupts from Katana and Black Lightning's ultimate move. Katana falls to the ground bleeding. She doesn't know if she can go on. Caliber takes the soul sword away from her and he thinks he has the upper hand. But then Black Lightning uses his power in the sword to blast Caliber back. Black Lightning forms into his electric body and grabs onto the soul sword. He tells Caliber, the Magistrate isn't here, Caliber. It's just you and the Outsiders. A huge wave of lightning is released. Jefferson goes to kill Caliber, but Duke tries to stop him. Jefferson thinks this is the only way. He doesn't know if they can fix Gotham's problems. He doesn't know if he can fix his own problems. He's stuck in a lightning body. Duke says he'll fix everything. Jefferson responds, man, I hope so. Duke then stands tall saying, no, I'm going to fix this, Mr. Pierce. That's what I do now. Duke is really taking on a leadership role. We go to after the battle. Caliber and the Magistrate forces are defeated. Katana apologizes for being short with Duke. She is impressed at how much Duke has grown. Duke has no hard feelings. He's happy everyone's okay. He's going to help out Jefferson now. Duke begins to walk away with a sword on his back that has Jefferson's energy in it. Jefferson says, Duke, I don't know what to say, man. And Duke responds, nothing to say. I owe you everything. Duke meets up with a girl back in Gotham that can help Jefferson with his curse. We fast forward to later at the Gotham City border. Duke walks up and the police get their guns ready. They tell Duke, turn around if you want to live. We will shoot you. That's when Black Lightning comes out of the sword on Duke's back. Black Lightning and the Signal stand ready to fight the Magistrate together. Duke tells the officers, shoot then. And that'll be the end of Future State's The Outsiders. See a group of 4 random people, Gotham citizens, fighting off against the Peacekeepers and the Magistrate's forces. They get surrounded. Explosions caused by the destruction of a Magistrate drone. That's when 4 new people show up. They're the Knights of Arkham. These 4 people are actually villains from Arkham Asylum, led by Astrid Arkham, aka the Arkham Knights. The group of 4 are saved and let free by the Arkham Knights. The Knights of Arkham are the only hope Gotham City has left. The Arkham Knights is here in Gotham City to take down the Peacekeepers and their general, Peacekeeper 12. Two-Face, who's working for Astrid now, he tells her that their target has been located. Zaz questions Two-Face's information. Astrid tells Zaz to listen up and get ready to attack. Astrid says, We've got company. The Knights of Arkham begins to attack the Magistrate tanks and drones. Two-Face tells Astrid that they have lost a signal from down below. They need to help someone. This someone is Killer Croc. The Knights find him, but so do the Magistrate's drones. Killer Croc attacks the drones, and the Knights of Arkham help him out. Astrid and Two-Face walk over to Killer Croc. Astrid asks Croc to join the Knights of Arkham. Killer Croc asks, "Do I have a choice?" Astrid raises her sword as if she was going to stab Croc. She then lowers her blade and responds, "Yes, always." We switch to Wayne Manor. Well, it used to be Wayne Manor. This manor is now ruled by the Knights of Arkham. Two-Face walks with Astrid and gives her all the updates. They both come upon Croc, who is now in containment. He's lost a lot of blood. Astrid hopes he'll wake soon. She needs his strength. Astrid walks outside on the balcony. She speaks to Dr. Phosphorus. He is in pain. He doesn't believe he'll make it. He doesn't want to be a burden to the Knights. Astrid tells him she'll find a cure, not just for him, but for all the group. They all want the world changed. Astrid tells the doctor that she can see the sun finally. She smiles. We shift to Peacekeeper 12, and he gets word to destroy this section of Gotham. He's walking through the sewers. The Knights of Arkham are becoming too much of a threat. Peacekeeper 12 goes out and is attacked by the Arkham Knights and her group. The Peacekeepers give a good fight, but they lose. Astrid stabs the Peacekeeper 12 in the neck and destroys him. She picks up his head. Two-Face gets word of their primary objective. Killer Croc decides to officially join the group. The Knights of Arkham win and walk onward toward their primary objective. Peacekeeper 12's head lays on a spear. He's done. Astrid says all her knights ever needed was focus. Now comes the rising of the sun. We see the Gotham Port Authority shipyard. Penguin's crew loads up shipments into a truck. These shipments are very important to the Penguin's plans. The Penguin crew leader tells his comrades to hurry up before trouble arrives. That's when the crew in their truck is blasted back by some cyberbots. You hear a loud boom. The crew are afraid. Their leader says, "What the hell are you idiots waiting for? You're the Penguin's crew. Hit him back and hit him hard." The cyberbots blast again, causing another huge explosion. The cyberbots put the crew leader's hands behind his back. He's helpless. Peacekeeper 06 walks up. She's not going to kill the Penguin's henchman. For his freedom, he needs to send a message to the Penguin. The Penguin henchman asks, "What's the message?" Peacekeeper 06 walks away saying, "Your teeth." The cyberbots begin to pull the Penguin henchman's teeth out of his mouth. We shift to the Arkham Knights. In the caves below the former Wayne Manor, Astrid Arkham walks to the underground hideout, motivating her group of villains. They need to protect the people of the wasteland and take down the magistrates. Astrid checks up on a few of her members to see if they are satisfied. Killer Croc is satisfied and ready to back Astrid's cause. Well, Mr. Dumpty is satisfied as well. Astrid says to her group of former villains, "You have been given a path of reintegration. You all have what you want, but I want more." Now, Two-Face rallies up all the villains. He says, "Okay, you lunatics, attention please. Astrid and I have identified our main target's location. You all have all been apprised of the details. Our engineers have put the finishing touches on the support craft. We commandeered from Townsend AFB. Our assault begins tomorrow, just before sundown. We can expect heavy cloud cover, and there is a chance of rain." Now Zaz picks up his knife and says, "And we should listen to this weakling because..." Now another one of Astrid's members says, "Because he thinks he's smarter than you are, Zaz. Right, Dent? You think you're smart enough to avoid a stab in the eyeball from Zaz?" Now Astrid stands tall and says, "Mr. Zaz, I'll allow a little good-natured chiding because it does wonders for morale. But I trust that you'll be the extent of it. Mr. Dent is my first lieutenant. Please afford him the same courtesy you will afford me. Now, Two-Face looks at Astrid and says, "Thank you, Astrid. The Magistrate's forces are concentrated by the police precinct and City Hall. They have requisitioned an abandoned bank as a storage area. It is believed a replacement peacekeeper, designated 6, has assembled a massive cache of Magistrate weaponry at this location. And guess what? This is where we are going." He points a stick on the map. "We'll fly right into the heart of it." Astrid walks forward with Killer Croc and Two-Face behind her. She says, "You will each receive your specific instructions from Mr. Dent. There will be no room for self-expression. You all have a job to do. Mr. Croc will be assigned as my personal protector for the duration of this endeavor. Mr. Dent, where's the doctor?" Two-Face looks at Astrid and says, "I don't know. He wasn't feeling himself earlier. The sedatives are having less and less effect on his pain levels." We see Dr. Phosphorus in the distance. He's sitting down in pain. We shift to Midtown Gotham, Magistrate-controlled city armory. Peacekeeper 01 says, "It's quiet." And Peacekeeper 06 responds, "How do we know they'll come, Peacekeeper 01? Peacekeeper 01 puts his hands behind his back in a very controlled position and says, "Because criminals are jackdaws, Peacekeeper 06. Little birds who can't resist the glittering prize of some shiny new weaponry. This is your operation now, but you don't need me here, of course. I must be across town by nightfall to meet with Mayor Nakano. Politics, of course. I'll remind him how his own police departments were driven out of their posts while we alone stood firm." Now, Peacekeeper 06 responds, "Everything's right, just as you ordered. I have a second wave of drones on standby, secreted inside the armory, and more personnel waiting in the subways nearby. These criminals will be dead before the sun sets. Once we're finished here, I will join you, assuming they take the bait." Now, Peacekeeper 01 looks up and says, "They're all right here. We have been tracking their movements for the last 9 minutes. We shift to outside the armory. We see Astrid and her whole army of villains. Not really an army, but like a team. Team of villains, they attack. And Astrid has her sword in the air. She's ready to fight back. They slowly take down a bunch of the different, police officers, right? They destroyed them, guys. Astrid cuts down people. You see explosions everywhere. But then, Dr. Phosphorus, he starts to fall to the ground. He says, "I can't take any more." Astrid catches him and says, "Dr. Phosphorus, you will not succumb. You are a knight of Arkham, and you will endure for our common cause. Do not stop, do not fail. Fight, damn you." Dr. Phosphorus looks up and says, "It's not the fighting, Astrid. That's the only distraction I have. It's the silent moments. It's the sleep. All the pieces you never see that I never tell you about. I can't try to survive for the gift of a life of agony." Astrid picks him up and says, "Neither can I let you die, my brave and beloved knights. I'll find your cure, I promise." Now we see Astrid and her villains. They begin to walk around. They stay in hiding. And we see Peacekeeper 06. She stands in front of her army of police officers. She says, "They think they're winning, but we're weakening them. Are the second, third waves ready to move?" And the officers respond, "At your command, Peacekeeper 06, we are getting a swell of electromagnetic interference." Peacekeeper 06, they're bringing an aircraft from the southwest. It's coming at Mach 1. And Peacekeeper 06 looks up. She says, "That'll be our stolen aircraft. Target with our second wave of drones upon my command." But then we hear a blast, we hear a bush, and we see all these different tanks of the Peacekeepers get destroyed, guys. And Peacekeeper 06 is surprised. Now, that's when the officers say, "They've taken a detour. They've gone inside the police precinct." Peacekeeper 06 looks up. She says, "What?" That's when she calls on Peacekeeper 01, who is in a ship above in the sky. She says, "They didn't go for the armory, Peacekeeper 01. We believe they may have a different primary target." Peacekeeper 01 says, "What do you mean different primary targets? Why?" Peacekeeper 06 then continues, "They've entered the old police precinct. We don't understand why. If you haven't left so abruptly." And Peacekeeper 06 cuts her off and says, If I hadn't left so abruptly, I would have witnessed your total and utter annihilation of these insurgents, Peacekeeper 06. The alternative would be to do it all myself. To prevent that, you are under the generous employ of the Magistrate. Do I make myself clear? And Peacekeeper 06, she looks up and sees a bunch of drones in the sky. They're not working for the Magistrate anymore. She says, "Sir, they've somehow tapped into our drones' operating systems remotely. We're losing all non-human personnel." Now, Peacekeeper 01 ain't shit. He slams his fist down and says, he's mad now, because basically, the Arkham Knights are winning. We shift to the Arkham Knights. They're climbing up the police precinct, right, to the rooftop. And we see Two-Face. He arrives in the helicopter. He says, "Astrid, this is Dent. I'm descending up onto the rooftop, as planned. There's a buildup of Magistrate activity below. They've probably worked out. We're not going to the armory. Be ready in 3 minutes. This is going to be close." Now, we see Astrid. She kicks down the door onto the rooftop. You hear slam. Now, Peacekeeper 06 with all of her police officers down below in the street says, "Move up to the police precinct rooftop. Try to get our drones back online." The officers respond, "What are they doing up there, Peacekeeper? There's nothing there." But that's when we see Astrid with all the villains on the rooftop by the bat signal. Peacekeeper 06 looks up and says, "All Magistrate forces with me. Target the aircraft. That's where they're vulnerable. Cut off their escape routes." Now we see Clayface above. He picks up the bat signal. That's when they begin to steal the bat signal. But somebody appears on the rooftop to confront the Arkham Knights. It's Peacekeeper 06. She managed to jump up to the rooftop all on her own. Now, that's when Astrid says, "Target is secured. Move back to the aircraft and cover each other with suppressing fire. The Arkham Knights help each other and fight back against Peacekeeper 06. Dr. Phosphorus says, "I regret, my dearest Astrid. I cannot. Thank you for believing in this immortal wretch." Now, Astrid says, "No!" He falls back and is shot by Peacekeeper 06. Dr. Phosphorus is down. That's when Astrid jumps down and she says, "Mr. Dent, hold your position." Two-Face says, "Astrid, no, we're outmatched." She goes down to the rooftop and starts to fight off against Peacekeeper 06. She stabs Peacekeeper 06 through the chest. You are shrunk. Now, Peacekeeper 06 falls to the ground, and Astrid goes over to Dr. Phosphorus. And Dr. Phosphorus looks up and says, "You keep saying there's a new day dawning, Astrid. But I don't want to see the dawn. When the sun rises, it hurts my skin." Now, Astrid latches Dr. Phosphorus onto the helicopter and says, "He's on. Go, go." Now they begin to fly off, and you see basically the bat signal and Dr. Phosphorus hanging off the helicopter. So Dr. Phosphorus, he's actually not done. Astrid's not gonna let him die. But then we fast forward and we see all these different doctors work on Dr. Phosphorus, and he falls. He's a fallen brother of the Arkham Knights. Now Astrid is sad, but Two-Face says, "Astrid, they're ready for you." Astrid puts on her helmet and walks out. She says, "Whatever is possible for our medical team to do for him, Harvey. Anything and everything. Do I make myself clear?" And Two-Face says, "Yes, Astrid." So even if he's like close to death, Astrid's not gonna stop to save Dr. Phosphorus. She like really cares for her members of the Arkham Knights. Now we see Astrid. She goes out to the villains and gives them basically like a speech. She says, "Attention, my knights, my serfs, and all of you who are loyal to our cause. A new day dawns in our fight against tyranny. No more the power brokers and politicians. No more the mercenaries who come to beat our people into submission. We are the broken and insane, the collective dregs of humankind. Yet we have proven to be a common cure for the wasteland of Gotham City. And for what broken trinkets, a relic of Gotham's former glory. Did our brother fall in battle to help recover a simple floodlights? No. It's a beacon of hope that reminds the Magistrate why the relics of Gotham are worth fighting for." So Astrid turns on the bat signal to give hope back to Gotham. So yes, Dr. Phosphorus died, but he died for a good cause. Now, Astrid with all the villains, they stand. They'll keep fighting. They'll try to take down the Magistrates. The bat signal shines in the sky. Maybe hope is actually coming back to Gotham City. The Arkham Knights are the heroes of this story. We begin in the year 2025. Gotham City now has a cyberpunk-esque feel to it. Now we see these three men about to get on a helicopter. One of the men say, "There's some good air. Clean." The other man responds, "Think there'll be more air packs on the convoy." The other man says, "Heard something even better's coming in." The other man smiles and says, "The stuff they say will pump up the cybers, right? Should take down any leftover vigilantes. That kind of thing that can take down what's left of the Bat Empire and turn the tide in the Magistrate's favor once and for all." The three men fly away in the helicopter. Now, above them, we see Tim Drake Robin. He's watching over Gotham City, and he's been listening on this conversation. Now, he uses a cloaking device so he's not noticed. But he still gets noticed, alright? We see this big Magistrate robot, this cyberbot, show up. The Magistrate cyberbot says, "Stop all movements by order of the Magistrates." The cyberbots blast at Robin. Tim dodges the blast and lands on a ledge. Tim is balancing himself on this ledge so he won't fall. He can see Gotham below and the big Magistrate robot coming forth to eliminate him. Tim says Gotham needs a Robin to protect it. Dick Grayson is in Arkham Asylum. Jason Todd has betrayed the Bat family and joined the Magistrates. Bruce is supposedly dead. Tim grabs a bomb and throws it at the cyberbots. You hear a loud boom! The cyberbot is hit just for a second, but it continues marching forth. Tim says, "What?" He's surprised. The robot isn't destroyed. The cyberbot grabs Tim by the neck and begins to choke him. The robot's head is blown up. Tim is saved by Stephanie Brown, aka Spoiler. Tim's surprised to see her. Tim kicks the big robot off the ledge. The cyberbot crashes into the streets. Tim and Stephanie land on the ground and look into the robots. Tim remembers Stephanie hanging up the cape. She went on to a civilian life, but now she's suddenly back. Tim's been alone and questions why Stephanie's even here. Stephanie says, "You're welcome, Robin. Been a while." Tim responds, "And whose fault is that? When the Magistrate cracked down, when they killed Bruce, you hung up the cape." Tim pushes the conversation forward. He tells Stephanie that a new shipment came in. The Magistrate will have something that'll make the cybers unbeatable. Tim finds a known substance in the cyberbots. Tim will use it next time to fight off against the cyberbots. Stephanie says, "You used the electromagnetic pulse bomb on him. It did nothing. You almost died. You should have kept your cloaking device on." Tim responds saying, "I can't keep the cloaking device on and fight a cyber. I have to divert the power to the shock absorbers. I'm doing all I can." Stephanie covers Tim's mouth and shuts him up. She says, "You can't do everything on your own." Tim asks Stephanie to join him and help save Gotham City. He puts his hand out. Stephanie refuses. She says, "Sorry, Tim. I'm not interested in watching the people I love die." Stephanie leaves through the shadows. Tim is disappointed, but he has one person in mind who can help him. Tim lifts up the substance in the air from the cyberbots and stares at it. We shift to the Gotham City Customs office. Tim meets up with a woman named Darcy. She can't hear, but she has a device that helps her. She uses silent language to communicate with Tim. Tim and Darcy look out into the night sunrise of Gotham City. Tim shows Darcy the substance he found. She is shocked. The substance is known as Lazarus resin. It comes from the Lazarus pits, obviously. This substance is able to imbue synthetic beings with organic rejuvenation. What's created from the substance is cyberbots. The Magistrate put a lot of money into this experiment. The next batch of cyberbots is being released tonight. This substance makes the cyberbots immortal. Tim says, "It's worse than I thought." Tim asks for more help from Darcy. Darcy refuses. She doesn't want to lose her job. Darcy tells Tim to ask his family, But Tim reminds Darcy that his family will be dealt harsh punishments if they are caught. The Bat family has already lost too much. Tim pretty much asks Darcy to be his oracle, right? Guide him through the Magistrate base and stop these immortal cyberbots from even being created, right? Now, Darcy doesn't want the stupidest genius she knows to die, so she joins Tim on his mission. We shift to later that night. Tim has Darcy connected to his chest. Tim and Darcy blast off, whoosh! They fly and get closer to the Magistrate base. As they fly, Stephanie Brown shows up out of nowhere. She's on a ladder, right? Now, she's trying to stop the Magistrate base as well. She says to Tim, "Need a hand?" Now, Tim reassures Darcy that Stephanie is just a friend. Spoiler joins Tim and Darcy. They climb up the ladder into the Magistrate base. They make it inside. Tim says, "I knew you'd come." Stephanie responds, "Didn't realize you'd ask someone else instead." Tim asks Darcy to lead the way. The Magistrate technology is messing with Darcy's ear module. She can't tell what's going on. That's when an army of police surround Robin, Darcy, and Spoiler. Tim tells Darcy, "Find the resin. We'll be right behind you." Robin and Spoiler face off against the army of police. Darcy finds the Lazarus resin. Now, Rob and Spoiler defeat the army of police. They find Darcy and stare in awe at the resin. That's when a cyberbot shows up. It tells the group to halt. It goes to blast, but Spoiler pulls out a cannon and hits the cyberbots with a huge blast. The cyberbot isn't phased. It's already been hit with the Lazarus resin. It's more powerful now. Tim goes to attack the cyberbot's head. Tim says, "If this ends now, you won't hurt my family anymore." The cyberbot then grabs Tim by the neck. The cyberbot snaps Tim's neck. He falls into the Lazarus resin. You hear a crack. Stephanie is shot. Darcy notices the resin is all over Tim. Tim is resurrected by the substance. He gets up and tells the cyberbots, "Hell of a round one. Now, round two." Tim Drake gets out of the Lazarus resin. He starts to walk. Now the cyberbot that killed him goes towards Stephanie and Darcy and is going to kill them. But that's when Tim Drake walks behind the cyberbot. The cyberbot looks back. But that's when Tim Drake punches the cyberbot in the head. The cyberbot's head just falls off, guys. It gets removed from its body and Tim Drake destroys it. With one punch, Tim Drake just decked a cyberbot. Now, that's when Stephanie says, "Robin, you're alive?" Now, Tim Drake stands over the destroyed cyberbot and thinks. He has to focus on the facts. He has to keep going on the mission. He has to stop the magistrates. He has to destroy this Lazarus resin. He can't think about what the Lazarus pit did to Jason Todd, what it did to so many other people, how it made people feel, how it makes him feel strong. Tim Drake clenches his fist. The Lazarus resin is taking over him. But that's when Darcy says, "Reinforcements." Now, that's when we see all these different Magistrate forces come by. They start running, they have guns, and they're about to shoot Darcy, Stephanie Brown, and Tim Drake. Stephanie takes off her hood and looks at Darcy. She says, "Change of plans. We need to figure out what happened to Robin. You know all the Magistrate systems, right? Look through the data. See if they research using the serum on people. I got to go cover Boy Wonder's ass." Now, Stephanie helps out Tim Drake go against these Magistrate forces. But honestly, he don't need no help. He's destroying them. Tim Drake is literally pummeling through all these different soldiers, like hitting them to the walls and everything. He feels super strong, and he hears Stephanie shouting in the back. Stephanie is calling Tim's name, but he ignores it. For the first time in a long time, he's got it. He's strong. He can keep fighting. Now, we see Darcy. She goes over to a computer. She's trying to research on the computer about the resin, the Lazarus resin, and if it's been tested on people. But that's where her ear module is not working. The thing that helps her hear what people are saying is not working. And she didn't hear what Stephanie told her. But that's when Darcy looks at the screen and she sees Peacekeeper 13 on deck. Now, that's when we see, spoiler, she says, "Robin, we have to work fast." Robin! Tim Drake is not responding. That's when he takes out these soldiers, but he looks up and he's in another realm, you could say. He's in his mind. And we see Two-Face. "What is this? Two-Face?" And Two-Face responds, "Ah, new boy wonder, so young, so inexperienced. You really think you can beat me?" Now, Tim Drake stands next to Spoiler, ready to fight. He says, "Two-Face, if Batman's dead, Robin and Spoiler are going to make you pay. Fair warning, Spoiler's got a mean job for her size." Now, Spoiler screams, No, I can't. Robin, wearing the cape, it requires so much. Can you really stand it?" Now, so when Timmy stands up tall, he says, This isn't right. These are memories. What's happening to me?" Now, Two-Face gets closer. He gets bigger. He says, "You're just as green as the first time you fought me. You are never strong enough." Now, that's when Tim looks to the side and sees in the shadow Batman. Batman says, "He's right." Now, Tim then looks to the side again and sees Nightwing and Damian. He's like, "What? What is going on?" Tim is so confused, and he's back in his old costume. Now, Nightwing says, "You? Robin? You're gonna be the one to save Gotham?" Now, Damian says, "As if you could save us, let alone a city, Drake. You're not father." Now, that's when Batman says, "Everyone is incapacitated. Your friends, your family. It's all up to you, and you're not enough. You've never been enough." We see Tim, he just keeps fighting, he keeps hitting these soldiers. But Batman, in his mind, is telling him that he's not enough. He can't keep fighting. We switch back to Darcy. She's on the computer, and she sees a video that explains what the resin, the Lazarus resin, does to a regular human being. It kills them. The effect is death. Now, she tells Spoiler, and Spoiler's like, "What do we do?" Now, Tim Drake, he starts getting out of control. Batman's getting his head. Batman's saying that Darcy and Spoiler are against Tim Drake. Tim puts his hands on his head and looks down, grits his teeth. He's trying to fight. He's fighting back against the resin. That's when he points at Darcy and Spoiler and says, "The plan is listening to me. We need a solution to destroy the resin. Something that will dilute the compounds." Now, that's when Darcy says, "Solution. That's it. That's what we have to do." "How do you make a solution?" I should have thought of that. "Robin, we have to crash the convoy into the Gotham River. In order to dissolve a synthetic chemical, we have to dilute it with enough organic matter to render it inert." Now, Tim is listening to Darcy, but Batman in the background says, "That's why you brought her, isn't it? She's always so smart. She realized what you knew as soon as you walked in this room and saw the resin. You just didn't want to admit because it meant you doomed Spoiler and Darcy." Now, Darcy continues, "We got to go to the control room. Follow me." Now, Tim follows Darcy and Spoiler. They keep going. Now, Tim, he starts to take back control. And Spoiler says to him, "Robin, are you okay? I thought... Now, Tim looks. And he thinks for a second. Batman gets in his head. Batman says, "She thought you died. Again, she's lived through you dying in front of her so many times, each time more painful than the last. She knows you're the reason for her pain. And one of these days, you're going to be the final nail in her coffin, aren't you?" Now, Tim smiles. He says, "Not if I can help it." So Tim reassures Stephanie that he didn't die. He's good. She shouldn't worry. Now, they keep walking, and that's when Spoiler says, "Wow, a giant door, huh? I guess they weren't going for subtle." Now, Darcy says, "Is there a plan?" Now, Tim says, "Yeah, take them down, save Gotham." He goes to the big door and opens it slowly. Now, when he walks in, Peacekeeper number 13 stands with his guards. Peacekeeper number 13 says, "Welcome, Robin. You put on an impressive show. Thank you for being our guinea pig. We knew someone would come for the Lazarus resin. We will cut into your dead body, see what it does to a human. Peacekeeper 01 will be pleased." Now, Batman Tim's head says, "He's lying. He's upset you tried to destroy the resin. Are you going to let him taunt you like this? Perhaps you don't deserve to be the son of the bats." Now, Tim shouts, "Stay back. I'll take care of them." Now, Darcy says, "Robin, no." Now, Tim charges at Peacekeeper number 13. He takes down the different guards in front. Now, Darcy looks back at Spoiler. She says, "Spoiler, I can help stop the convoy. Whatever communication system they're using messes with my ear module. I can use it to disrupt the autopilot and get the convoy off course." Now, Spoiler says, "Great, shut off the autopilot and set a course for the river. Whatever the resin is doing to Robin, it's getting worse. We see these soldiers get thrown into the wall." Now, Tim goes up to Peacekeeper number 13. And before Tim attacks Peacekeeper number 13, he grabs one of the guards and puts him in a choke. Now, Peacekeeper number 13 says, "Look at you. Magnificent. With your bare hands, you're able to take down a highly trained operative. Now, Spoiler looks at Tim. She says, Robin, stop. Tim is about to kill someone. He thinks for a second. Batman says, back off, Spoiler. And Tim says, back off, Spoiler. Spoiler responds, Tim, stop, the resin is doing something to your brain. You're going to kill that foot soldier. You never do that. That's not what Batman taught you. We can fix this together. Now, Batman says, she is weak. She has always been weak. She doesn't know what you have to do to keep her safe. Now, Tim says, you don't understand. No one does. No one has ever understand what I have to do. I have to. Now, Spoiler walks forward. She says, you can't protect everyone on your own. Let's help you. Let me help you. Now, that's when we see a soldier. The soldier grabs Spoiler and starts to put her in these handcuffs. Now, Spoiler says, get off me. Robin. That's when Batman grabs onto Darcy and says, they're distractions, Robin. They always have been. You know the true mission. The real reason you came to this convoy. You must kill me. It's the only way you'll be free. Now, it's revealed that basically Batman and Peacekeeper number 13 are the same person. Because Batman is inside Tim's head, so he thinks he's fighting Batman. Now, Peacekeeper number 13 actually thinks that Tim should join the Magistrates. Peacekeeper 01 would be pleased with that. He thinks that Tim has a lot of potential. Now he says, you want what the Magistrate wants, to protect. Join with Peacekeeper 01, and you can protect those you love. Now, Tim snaps out of it. He snaps out of the control of the resin. He realizes he's fighting Peacekeeper 13, and he punches him in the face. You're a crack. Now, Peacekeeper 13 falls to the ground defeated. Tim looks out. Now, Darcy says, here goes nothing. Now, Peacekeeper 13 gets up. He says, you're here too late. They took Spoiler away on the last escape pod. I bagged one vigilante, and when the convoy crashes, I will have killed another. Now, Spoiler is transported off this whole convoy. She's in a ship. And the place she is transported to is the same prison that has Cassandra Cain. So that story continues in the next Batman, number 2. Now, we see Tim. He looks. He sees that the ship is already gone. And he smiles. He says, but nothing can kill me. I'm already dead. So Tim's like, you can't stop me. And that's when Tim grabs Darcy and jumps out the convoy window. You see all these shards just go all over the place. Peacekeeper 13 is left behind. Now Tim jumps long enough and he throws Darcy onto the ledge. She is saved. But that was the last of Tim's energy. He has no more energy. The resin has worn out. He begins to fall. He falls into the ocean. You hear a splash. Now Darcy screams, Tim! She sees that he's gone. She begins to tear up a little bit. Tim might be dead, but we see Tim in the water. He raises his hand. He's alive once again. And that's how he ends Future States, Robin Eternal, number 2. We see Cassandra Cain. She is escorted into the Magistrate detention facility. All around her in the prison cells is villains she knows, but also heroes as well, like Beast Boy, Big Barda, and Jimmy Olsen. Now, some of the heroes are frightened. If the Magistrate has taken down Cassandra Cain, then the Resistance doesn't stand a chance. The officer throws Cass down to the floor. A bunch of the villains inside cells want Cassandra Cain. They want to kill her. Others see that she is just a kid. They want to help her. The officer tells Cassandra Cain, you talk, you get transferred to tomorrow. You don't, well, you can stay with these animals. Cass doesn't respond. The officer says, this will go a lot smoother if you cooperate. I'm being nice now. You should thank me. I want to know how you people are getting information. I want to know who you are and who your leader is. Cass doesn't respond once again. The officer gets frustrated and lets Cass walk toward her cell. The officer puts Cass in her cell. Cass's roommate greets her. Her roommate is Stephanie Brown, aka Spoiler. She says, what, Cass? Nothing to say to your old friends? That's fine. You never were a talker. Still, I got a lot of questions about you. Cass punches a wall. She's frustrated. Stephanie tells Cass not to get emotional. Getting emotional is not a good idea in this detention facility. Stephanie says, I've made friends in low places. They won't take kindly to you getting fresh with me. I guess you've heard how I've gone feral. A traitor, as Nightwing calls it, to the cause. Plus, there's a lot of tension in the prison now that Cass has arrived, Stephanie says. Still, there are some folks who can be real friendly, but will you lower yourself to pay? Cass responds, I suppose it would be too much to expect, spoiler, that someone who has sunk so low would do the right thing. Spoiler responds, well, we were family, and when that meant something. Once a Batgirl, always a Batgirl, am I right? Cass says. And if I join you, how do I know you would not betray my trust? Spoiler says. That's the question, isn't it? Spoiler gives Cass a deal. If Cass tells her about how she got caught, then she'll give Cass the means to escape in the prison, or at least get some privacy. Now, Spoiler puts her hand on Cass's shoulder. Cass pulls her hand off and twists it. Cass says, do not touch me. I owe you nothing, and nothing is what you will get, traitor. We are no longer family or allies, but out of respect for the past, I'll leave you in peace. Cass walks away. Spoiler smiles and says, miss you too, babe. We fast forward to the next day. All the villains stand and discuss how they can get some privacy, maybe escape. Chia notices Cassandra Cain walk in. Chia wonders if Cass was a part of the Bat family. Rumors are spraying around that Cass was. Cass asks where Odysseus is. One of the prisoners responds, he's dead, kid. Stop wasting your time searching for the king. Jimmy Olsen comes forth and says he knows a place called the Hole. Cass ignores Jimmy, even though he has some sources. Cass asks more prisoners about Odysseus. One prisoner says, Odysseus is in the underworld. You need a sacrificial goat. Cass says, I'll manage. We fast forward to day 3. Cass asks Killer Frost, Killer Croc, and Jason Todd. All the villains don't fight back. They are ordered not to by Spoiler. Cass finds out and immediately goes after Spoiler. Cass finds Spoiler talking with Livewire and Zaz. Cass tells Livewire and Zaz to get out. She has unfinished business with Spoiler. Spoiler blows smoke into Cass's face. She says, so, you finally ready to humble yourself and ask me for help? Cass responds, you have made it clear that in order for me to get what I want, I have to go through you. You want my attention. You'll regret that now. Spoiler punches at Cass, but Cass blocks. The fight begins. Cass overwhelms Spoiler. Spoiler says, I'm trying to help you, Cass. Will you just wait and listen for 1 second? Cass kicks Spoiler in the face and says, there's nothing that you have to say that I care to hear. Spoiler says, that's enough. She fights back. Cass responds, if you didn't want us to fight, you shouldn't have betrayed us. Spoiler agrees and suggests they keep fighting. Spoiler catches Cass's hits, but Cass then throws Spoiler at the wall. You're a crack. Both Spoiler and Cass are electrocuted. Both women are knocked out. The security officer shows up. He's now going to put Cass in solitary confinement. We fast forward to day 4. Cass gets a tray of food in her solitary confinement room. She finds a comm in her tray. She puts it in her ear and Spoiler speaks through it. Spoiler reveals to Cass that they are both on the same side. They've both been going after Odysseus. Cass is shocked and says, but you betrayed us. Why? Spoiler knew Cass's plans. In order to help, she had to go undercover and go to this prison. Cass asks, what happened, Stephanie? Stephanie responds, it's been a long year. Stephanie explains that when Oracle went missing and Batman died, she lost hope. She went to Nightwing. He said she had to get her hands dirty to succeed. Stephanie needed to be on the other side. She had to be a criminal. Stephanie asked Cass if she could trust her now. Cass says she's sorry for doubting. She thought Stephanie betrayed the Bat family. Cass says, a few months ago, I was getting messages. They were simple but effective. The Bat was alive. The messages led me here. If Batman's still alive, trapped in here, you have connections, Steph. I'm asking, please, will you help me? Stephanie agrees. She will help Cass. But she tells Cass first, remember, once a Batgirl, always a Batgirl. We see a couple cells down below. Barbara Gordon, Oracle, lays in confinement. She is Odysseus. This is what pretty much Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown, spoiler, has been referring to. This is the person they're going after. Oracle went missing, but she's actually here. Now, we fast forward to day 5. Stephanie asks Cass what her plan is once they find Odysseus, Oracle. Cass says, I have a way, but only one chance at it. Stephanie forms a meeting of inmates. She convinces Big Barda to help the cause. She convinces Beast Boy to help her as well. Beast Boy owes Stephanie a favor. Stephanie gets help from Zaz and Livewire. If Cass wants her plan to go through, she needs a distraction. We fast forward to day 6. We see a Peacekeeper get ambushed by Livewire and Zaz. This leads to a standoff between the Peacekeeper army and all these different inmates. All these villains and heroes pretty much teaming up together. Now, this whole plan blows spoilers cover, but she wants to look into Oracle and Batman's eyes once again. She wants to succeed. Now, the prison riots begins. Cassandra Cain makes her way through the halls of the Magistrate prison, smiling as she hacks the security system with her subdermal implants. In the main hall, Stephanie Brown leads a riot against the officers. This riot has been going on for 2 minutes. Stephanie tells her group of supervillains, knock them out, don't take them out. We need them breathing if we hope to get out of here alive. This group includes villains such as Cheetah, Killer Frost, and more. They continue to fight, but the tables begin to turn when all the prisoners' wrist guards activates. Stephanie and her group fall to the ground in pain. One of the officers hovers over Stephanie saying, not your smartest move, Blondie. Stephanie yells, hurry up, to Cassandra over the radio. Cassandra Cain is their only chance at winning. The riot has now been going on for 3 minutes. Cassandra Cain takes down an officer and wears his armor. Cass then proceeds down the hall, but is confronted by another officer around the corner. Captain wants you in the mess hall, she tells him. Alright, I'm coming, the officer nervously says as he runs off to the mess hall. Meanwhile, in the mess hall, Stephanie is kicked in the face by one of the captains of the officers. Stephanie says on the radio to Cass, looks like you're on your own, Batgirl. The captain stands over Stephanie saying, give him a taste of freedom, and they yank them back to heel. It's a tried and true method of breaking animals. That's when the wrist locks and Stephanie and the others fall off. Stephanie stands up and cracks her knuckles, saying, looks like the animals got loose, Captain. The riot has now been going on for 10 minutes. A huge fight breaks out once again. Stephanie with all of her supervillains fight for their lives against the captain and his group of magistrate officers. Stephanie gets knocked to the ground. An officer behind her goes to kill her, but that's when Jefferson Pierce elbows the officer in the neck. Stephanie thanks Jefferson for the save, but then an officer goes to shoot Jefferson, but Stephanie jumps in front. She is knocked out by the shot. Jefferson holds her, very concerned. In the control room, Cassandra Cain finds what she is looking for, moving into the shadows. She hacks her way through another door, looking down who she finds. Shock filling her eyes. Cass says, Barbara, what did they do to you? Cass gets Barbara Gordon out of the restraints she is in. Barbara hugs Cass saying, you came. You found me. Cass responds, I have. They won't hurt you again. Cass picks Barbara up and carries her out of the room, explaining that the magistrate has linked her into their connection, trying to pull all the information that Barbara had. She had some control though, enough to send a message to the resistance. Barbara says, I know they're hiding something big. I need access to a computer. Cass nods and gets on the comms to Stephanie. Cass asks Stephanie if she can hold the guards off a little longer. But Cass doesn't get an answer back. Cass looks at Barbara saying, this might be our only way of getting out. Barbara then reminds Cass that people are not a means to an end. Cass pulls out an orb and then appears in her Batgirl costume. Both Cass and Barbara turn, seeing a group of guards heading toward them. They both take down the guards easily. They look at each other after the fight saying, once a Batgirl, always a Batgirl. They head back into the control room with Cass radioing in to Nightwing as Barbara goes to work in the magistrate systems. Cass says in the radio, Nightwing, I have her. It was not him. I found Oracle. There's a pause. But then Nightwing orders Cass to bring Barbara home. Barbara then gasps saying, I think I found Batman. or at least a breadcrumb trail. Cass tells Nightwing the complication in the main mess hall. They need to save Stephanie and all the villains who help the cause. Barbara says, I think I have an idea. That's when we shift to the mess hall. Spoiler and Poison Ivy fall to their feet. Poison Ivy asks, why didn't you go with her? Stephanie responds, never abandon your people. I am not one of them anymore. But bad habits die hard. Been a pleasure fighting by your side. The captain steps toward, and an alarm begins to sound in the prison. He looks up in fear, demanding to know what is happening. Stephanie smiles, saying, what did I say? We never leave our people behind. Suddenly, all the images go black, and a display of Oracle's head appears. The drones are nearby, projecting an image of the Oracle on every surface and throughout the city. Everyone's phones and screens also show the Oracle image. Oracle tells the people of Gotham, both the Magistrate and the civilians alike, that the mask have failed them, but she tells them that there is still hope. We are the Resistance. Join our cause. If we live, there is always hope. We know what we have to do now. We have to fight for what is right. The words echo throughout the city of Gotham. Inside the prison, the Resistance has arrived. Nightwing, Man-Bat, Orphan, Batwoman, Talia al Ghul, and Tim Drake Robin stand ready. The prisoners are freed soon, and the guards round up and imprisoned. Later, at Base 2 in Gotham City, Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon reunites. Barbara reminds Dick to appreciate the good in life. They both kiss and plan ahead to find Batman. Cass walks by, is happy to see both Barbara and Dick happy together. Cassandra Cain heads outside and finds Stephanie Brown on a ledge. Spoiler asks, what is to happen to all the villains in the prison? Cass tells her that there are no more heroes, no more villains, only the Resistance. Steph says to Cass, I know this doesn't make things square, but thanks for giving me a chance even when you didn't have a reason to. Cass apologizes for not trusting Steph more. She says, I believe in you, Stephanie Brown, Batgirl. I hope you give me a chance to prove myself and heal what's been damaged. The two embrace each other on the wall, looking down at the Resistance below them, to new beginnings and to keeping the faith. And that's how we end Future State's Batgirls. We begin in the year 2027, Gotham City. We see Bruce. He's hiding out because he's supposedly dead. The news reports that the son of Gotham, Bruce Wayne, was shot and killed last month in an alley. We shift to 1 month ago. Bruce is being chased by a man named Peacekeeper Number 1. Peacekeeper 1 says, Bruce Wayne, we know who you are. Peacekeeper Number 1 is associated with the Magistrates, the new ruler of Gotham City. We see Bruce walking through Gotham alone. Being a masked hero is one thing. Being dead is another. Dead and broke. Bruce makes it to a diner. He only has enough money to get one coffee. He orders. A girl in the coffee shop talks with Bruce. She gives her theories on what could have happened to Batman and Bruce Wayne. How did they die? Bruce listens to her theories. 1 month ago, Bruce got away from Peacekeeper Number 1, but he was still shot in the chest. He was bleeding. He used the last of the Wayne Enterprises fortune to get healed up. Gotham's best butcher saved Bruce Wayne. He saved the Batman. 1 day later, Peacekeeper Number 1 reports to Gotham that Batman is dead. He continues to tell the promises that he'll keep with Gotham. Peacekeeper Number 1 will take down all vigilantes. He's working with Mayor Nakano. News reporters ask, who killed Batman? Peacekeeper Number 1 knows that he was the one who killed the Bats, but he doesn't tell Gotham that. He says the Magistrate will continue to remove crime in Gotham City in the most efficient way possible. We shift to the present day. Bruce walks through the cyberpunk streets of Gotham. There are cameras everywhere. The magistrate almost noticed Bruce, but he takes off running. He runs through the streets. He makes it to an alleyway. Bruce walks alone, but hears trouble in the distance. He investigates. Bruce sees a group of thugs mugging a regular man. Bruce walks and tells one of the thugs to let the man go. The young thug says, "Big mistake." He goes to stab Bruce. Bruce takes out each thug one by one, but then he hears a magistrate drone in the distance. It's coming. He gets distracted. The young thug punches Bruce in the face. Bruce begins to run. The magistrate drone chases him. He slowly takes out his cowl. Bruce changes into his new Batman costume. And guys, it looks really dope. How Dan Mora draws this, it's one of the best Batman designs I've seen in a long time. Now, Bruce dodges some shots from the magistrate drones. But that's when he's shot in the leg. He almost falls. Now, Batman makes it to a rooftop. He looks at the new Gotham City. The drones arrive again. They go to attack. Batman jumps off the building and gets his grappling hook ready. He unleashes his grappling hook and swings up against a wall. Batman hits the wall and falls hard to the surface. He gets up, gritting his teeth. Peacekeeper number 1 has been watching this whole chase sequence on cameras. Now he knows the Batman is back. We shift back to Bruce, walking into another alleyway. He's escaped the drones. He stands over his grave. There's no more time for funerals. It's time for Batman to strike back and take back Gotham City. 2027, Gotham City. We begin with 3 criminals running through an authority shipyard. Bruce Wayne, now fully suited up in his Batman tactical gear, watches. The criminals try stealing some barrels, but that's when the Magistrate's new justice arrives. A new advanced cyberbot goes to take down the criminals. Bruce jumps and ambushes the cyberbot. Bruce takes out the cyberbot, but that's when another comes from behind him and grabs him. It pulls him back by the arm and stares at him. We flash back to the day Bruce Wayne was supposedly killed. When Peacekeeper number 1 went to give the final blow, Bruce shot Peacekeeper number 1 with a grappling hook. Bruce made a run for it. He ran across a deck as Peacekeeper number 1 took out his gun and aimed. Bruce was shot a couple times. One in the knee, one in the stomach. He tried using his batarang to hit the Peacekeeper number 1, but he was so exhausted, his accuracy was off. Bruce jumps off the deck into the water. He began to sink, but then he found a dead body. A dead man that looked similar to him. Bruce then proceeded to float that other dead man's body up to the surface. Peacekeeper number 1 saw the body and shot it a couple more times. He believed it was Bruce Wayne. He walked away thinking that he killed Bruce Wayne. He killed the Batman. When actually Bruce outwitted Peacekeeper number 1. In this water, Bruce used a grenade to blast himself to the surface. Once he got out of the deck, out of the water, he sat in a hidden area. He was bleeding a lot. Shift back to present day. Bruce, in his Batman tactical gear, stands over a destroyed cyberbot. Out of all the shots, Bruce still feels the shot that Peacekeeper 01 aimed at his left knee. Bruce hides the destroyed cyberbot and puts his Batman tactical gear away. He walks away hoping not to blow his cover. Bruce heads back to his supposed home in Gotham, a home that wouldn't be tracked by the magistrates. Bruce walks into the living room and finds his roommate, Noah, with a gun. See, Noah doesn't know he's living with Bruce Wayne. He thinks Bruce's name is Jeff. Noah tells Bruce, "No cell phones." Bruce agrees and puts it away. Noah also adds, "We have no more tap water." That's when a little girl named Hannah returns to the home. She's brought more tap water. She says hi to Bruce. Bruce walks out of the living room down the stairs. He goes down to his bunker, a safe room from the magistrates. Bruce has a board in the wall for his investigation. An investigation on why the magistrate went after Bruce Wayne. Also, what about how the magistrate knew that killing Bruce Wayne would kill the Batman? Bruce goes over all of his analysis on Peacekeeper 01 one more time, then walks out of the bunker. Bruce goes out back and finds an old bike. Noah, his new roommate, sold it to him. Bruce gets his Batman tactical gear and drives through Gotham on the bike. Bruce follows a businessman named Carl Bennington on the road. Bruce follows him all the way back to a corporation space. Bruce gets off his bike and begins to head toward the corporation warehouse. He hears Magistrate drones nearby. Bruce tries to hide, but the Magistrate drones attack. One blows up, wham! Bruce catches himself from the explosion, but he has no time to rest. A whole army of Magistrate drones show up going after Bruce. Bruce gets off his bike and drives to Gotham. Bruce figures out a way to ditch the bike and retreat into the darkness, into the shadows. The Magistrate drones find the bike while Bruce watches from afar. Bruce heads back to his bunker. He pieces together information he's gathered. He knows that the Magistrates is watching every corner of Gotham City. They're using Wayne tech against him. Bruce hears yelling upstairs. Bruce goes up to the living room and sees Noah smashing an electronic device with a bat. He says, "Hey Jeff, you got TV down there? You gotta get rid of it. They're everywhere, damn it." Bruce agrees with Noah. The Magistrates are everywhere. Carl Bennington, Plexitech CEO, terrible golfer, organizer of many charity golf tournaments, is found dead by a woman. She calls for a medic. The police look for the murderer. The blame goes toward the vigilantes. This incident pushes more hunt for the vigilantes by the Magistrates. Bruce thinks there is every reason for a vigilante to kill Carl Bennington. Bruce still thinks that this incident was set up by the Magistrate though. He goes searching through Gotham for evidence. Bruce goes to the city removing nanotech and drones so he can investigate the Magistrate system even further without getting caught. But when he removes the nanotech, the Magistrate immediately get alert, so his plan kinda backfires. Drones arrive and go to attack Bruce. Bruce runs long enough and eventually makes it on an alleyway. He takes down one drone, but another drone behind him is about to shoot him. But then it's destroyed by a batarang. Bruce looks behind and says, "Who the hell are you?" The person responds, "You know who I am." Bruce is confronted by Tim Fox, the next Batman. Bruce says, "I guess I do." Batman responds, "And who the hell are you?" Bruce narrates, "Batman, you're in my suit. Always new hero to replace the old one. Because it's about a symbol, not a person. Batman is dead. Long live Batman." Bruce responds to Batman, "Let's just say I'm busy." Batman says, "Whatever you're busy doing, it's not safe." Bruce says, "Just going about my business." Batman tells Bruce, "Stay home tomorrow night." Bruce responds, "Yeah, I pretty much invented that line." They both walk separate directions. Now, we go later in the day and Bruce gets back to his shared apartment with conspiracy theorist Noah. Bruce hacks into the drones and figures out for certain that the Magistrate is watching everywhere, 24/7. Bruce looks at footage of who killed Carl Bennington. In fact, it was a setup. The Peacekeepers killed Carl, the pinnacle of the New Order, murdering in secret. The Magistrate thought Carl was a threat, same way they thought Bruce was a threat. The Magistrate wanted weapons from Wayne Enterprises. That's why they sent Peacekeeper 01 to try and kill Bruce. Bruce walks out of his room and hears Noah and his daughter arguing. Noah hears alien noises. He needs to keep going to the rooftop so the apartment isn't located. Noah's daughter, Hannah, calls Bruce lazy for not helping her dad. She tells Bruce to stop talking with Noah about conspiracies and actually help him. She doesn't want her father to die. Hannah walks away angry. Bruce is curious what noises Noah was hearing. Bruce goes to the rooftop and uses infrared specs. He stands on the rooftop and sees drones following Hannah. Bruce jumps from the rooftop to investigate. He's curious as to why they are watching her. Bruce follows the drones to the Magistrate headquarters. He looks up, but he can't get in. So he drives off in his motorcycle. He makes it to the road in front of his apartment, and he wants to protect Hannah, but he loses sight of her, so she's gone, guys. But that's when Bruce figures out what Noah was hearing. The sound of 1,000 Magistrate drones in the sky watching. That is when a bunch of drones show up and destroy Bruce's motorcycle. Bruce stands frightened as the drones go to attack. At the Magistrate headquarters, Peacekeeper 01 listens to reports of the missing drone units across Gotham. The rate of lost units has gone down, but there are still missing drones, meaning the Magistrate are vulnerable. Peacekeeper 01 sees the situation as a liability. All missing units must be accounted for. He gives the Magistrate programmers 30 minutes to produce a report. Peacekeeper 01 dismisses the workers. One worker's name is Hannah. She goes to get something to eat, supposedly. Instead, she takes a call from her father, Noah. Noah knows that Bruce, or Jeff as Noah would call him, is on the roof. Noah is a conspiracy theorist that thinks that he might have just solved something. He believes Jeff, aka Bruce, is up to something. Hannah tells her father to wait. She'll be there in a sec. Bruce on the roof of the apartment sets an alarm to keep both Noah and Hannah safe. He begins to climb down the ladder. When he gets down, Noah is behind him with a gun. Bruce knocks Noah out. Bruce then heads inside to further his plan of keeping Noah and Hannah safe. Bruce begins to set everything in motion. He takes family photos and puts them in a bag. Hannah walks in, asking for her dad. Hannah initially thinks that Bruce is robbing her father. He has a literal sack of Noah's possessions in his hands. Hannah says, "Where is my dad?" Bruce responds, "He's safe. For now." Hannah responds, "What does that even mean? What have you done?" Bruce walks toward Hannah saying, "Hannah, I'm sorry." Bruce knocks out Hannah and carries her with the sack out of the apartment. Bruce puts Noah and Hannah in a van and drives away. A bunch of drones arrive and secure their target on the apartment. The drones begin to open fire and destroy the inside of the apartments. Peacekeeper 01 realizes Bruce isn't there and tells his drones to abort the mission. That's when the rooftop has an explosion. Bruce put a bomb on the rooftop when he was there. Peacekeeper 01 loses signal of some drones. He tells his officers, "Find him. Find him now." Hannah wakes up in a van. Bruce reveals his true name to Hannah. He tells her the reason he pulled her and her father, Noah, out of the apartments. The Magistrate was hunting him down to kill him, and they were about to be caught in the crossfire. Now, since Hannah is a programmer for the Magistrate, Bruce asks if she knows about the Magistrate's surveillance tech. Hannah pulls out a comm that has recordings of Peacekeeper 01's plans. Bruce finds out that the Magistrate's plan is to install their own justice into Gotham. That's why they are watching every Gotham citizen. Bruce gets ready to go. Hannah wants to come because she's risked her life up to this point. Why not do it now? Bruce tells her to stay in the van and with her father. The Magistrate won't find her. Bruce goes out as Batman in Gotham. He takes down Magistrate officers and gets closer to the Magistrate headquarters. He owns the shadows for now. The window of opportunity is closing every minute for Bruce. He must act fast. Now, Bruce causes an explosion, causing panic in the Magistrate headquarters. Bruce makes it in and asks one of the computers to locate employee Hannah Harris. Bruce finds Hannah hacking into programs. They have both 4 minutes to escape. They begin to run through the burning halls of the Magistrate headquarters. Peacekeeper 01 walks in. He knows Bruce is there. Peacekeeper 01 gets the jump on Bruce. He decks him to the ground. Hannah begins to run away. Bruce gets punched in the face by Peacekeeper 01. The big fight begins. We switch to Hannah running through the streets of Gotham. Cyberbots start walking through. Hannah takes a vitamin to hide herself from the Cyberbots. Meanwhile, in the Magistrate headquarters, a bomb is about to explode in a minute. Bruce and Peacekeeper 01 continue to fight. Peacekeeper 01 puts Bruce in a chokehold and says, "A tumor of ancient ideals, antiquated powers, chaos. I burned it all down so I could build a new city. My city, my order. Think I won't kill you again to preserve it?" Bruce gets out of the chokehold and punches Peacekeeper 01 back and says, "This isn't your city, and you didn't kill me." Bruce and Peacekeeper 01 are both shot back by an explosion. They stand up and look at each other. Bruce grits his teeth. Peacekeeper 01 smiles. That's when the bomb explodes. The entire Magistrate headquarters blows up. Hannah watches from outside. We're left to wonder if Peacekeeper 01 and Bruce survived the explosion. And that's how we end Future State's Dark Detective. So that was the complete story of Future State Gotham, and yes, there is some things to still be wrapped up. Like at the end of Dark Detective, Peacekeeper 01, we don't know if he's actually dead, and it never got revealed if there's actually like a big leader in the Magistrate. It kind of feels like Peacekeeper 01 is that. Which for me, I was a little disappointed about that. I hope they make the Magistrate kind of bigger in future storylines, but for now though, it felt like Dark Detective ending in a way like DC was saying, alright, we did this whole Magistrate storyline, but it's time for Infinite Frontiers, so let's just end it, just like that. Which, I'm like, come on, just end it on a great note. And yes, they are doing some new series coming out, like Future State Gotham, which will be more about Red Hood, but they could wrap up the Magistrate stuff there. That series will be written by Joshua Williamson. We also got Future State, The Next Batman, The Second Son, which is a DC digital series. But that's more, yes, it is Future State, but it's not after these events. It's more to show how, Tim Fox became the next Batman, which that's still interesting, and we will be covering on the channel eventually when it gets more issues, because the issues themselves are super small, because they're digital issues, so it'd be like a 3 or 4 minute video if I did it now, or if I wait for 3 issues, it'll be a more longer and better video. But yeah, guys, there's some new series coming out, but overall, this whole Future State Magistrate thing is done, and this was your complete story of it. I would give this overall story still an 8 out of 10. I recommend it because it was awesome. There's a lot of action, a lot of cool ideas. I really like Dark Detective, where Bruce is like a street-level hero again. And say Catwoman, written by Ram V, that was amazing. The Nightwing comic was really good. Robin Eternal. There's a lot of great stories in this bunch of stories, right? I really liked it. So yeah, guys, you tell me your thoughts on this whole overall Magistrate Future State story down below in the comments section. But if you guys like the video, give a big thumbs up. New channel, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on my next DC Comics video. But yeah, thanks for watching, and peace out.